Chapter 313. Because it was related to the Shin family's reputation, Mu Chichi went back to Shin Mansion in the afternoon the next day. Not only that, she was surprised to find that Shin Jianchuan had returned home. Grandpa Shin had hired a professional physiotherapist to help Shin Jianchuan, so he did not need to go to the hospital anymore. When Grandpa Shin was fishing in the pond, Shin Jianchuan could accompany him and talk to him. It was as if they wanted to make up for the regret they had. They always had a lot to talk about. Grandpa Dad. Grandpa Shin turned around and saw Mu Chichi. He smiled. My precious granddaughter is back. Actually, Mu Chichi did not want to talk about third uncle's family in front of Grandpa Shin anymore. If it was not because Shin Rui had become eldest brother Sheng's mistress, she would not have been able to talk about it. Do you have something to tell Grandpa? Shin Jianchuan could see through his daughter's mind. Although I don't want to make Grandpa angry, I think I should tell you about it. Mu Chichi took out the picture of Shin Rui dressed in a trench coat and together with eldest brother Sheng. I don't know what she is planning. But I don't want anyone to know about it. Grandpa will be criticized. Grandpa Shin put down his fishing rod and took the picture. He looked angry. Animal. She is an animal. Grandpa, if you agree, let me handle it. But no matter what I do to Sister Rui, you can't say anything. You can't be soft-hearted or feel sorry for her. Grandpa Shin took a deep breath. He could not do anything to Shin Rui. So he nodded. I have nothing to say to her now. Just do as you see fit. Xiao Qi, you have grown up. You don't have to tell me about this. I will stand by your side no matter what. I know, Grandpa. Let's not talk about this. I will accompany you to go fishing. I will stay at home for dinner. You! Among all the children in the Shin family, Grandpa Shin only trusted Mu Chichi. Although she was only 19 years old, she was more far-sighted than most of the adults. She was brave enough to break the rules. Grandpa Shin was still a little uncomfortable with Mu Chichi and Sheng Zhao's seniority. That night, Mu Chichi had a very happy time at the Shin residence. But when she returned to Jingting, she found that Sheng Zhao was deliberately ignoring her. Mu Chichi climbed onto his lap and wrapped her arms around his neck. What's wrong? Sulking? The Shin family treats you very well now. Does it make you feel more at home? What are you talking about? Aren't you being petty? I just stayed in the Shin family for a while. It's not worth it for you to make a fuss about it. You used to be very clingy to me. I'm very attached to you now too, Mu Chichi said and pressed her head against his chest. Look, I'm stuck to you. I promised your father that I would let you live happily in the Sheng family, but I'm living a happy life. Mom and fourth sister treat me very well. As for the others, they all treat you that way. I'm just an outsider. I don't expect anything from them. I'm already very satisfied with my current life. Mu Chichi said as she rubbed up and down on his chest. He was a man after all. No matter how arrogant he was, he would still have his period for a few days. Mu Chichi could understand it. After a while, Mu Chichi opened one of her eyes and looked at Sheng Zhao. She asked gently, Are you not angry anymore? What's the use of rubbing my chest? Mu Chichi's face turned red when she followed Sheng Zhao's gaze. Pervert. And Xiao, I've thought of a way to deal with Shin Rui. It can solve the problem once and for all. Sheng Zhao put down the documents and held Mu Chichi's waist. Then he walked to the bedroom. What are you doing? You can say what you want. I'll do what I want. Grandpa Sheng's men found out that one of the properties under eldest brother Sheng's name was empty. It was specially used to settle Shin Rui down. If eldest brother Sheng was not selfish at all, he should have told the Shin family after settling Shin Rui down. But he did not. What did it mean? Grandpa Sheng knew very well that his son had an ulterior motive. Although he had an ulterior motive, he did not meet her immediately. So, Shin Rui had to get eldest brother Sheng's schedule from Sheng Minghui. Eldest brother Sheng was not a fool. He would only approach the forbidden fruit after he was sure that the surroundings were peaceful. Mu Chichi had thought of a way to deal with Shin Rui. So she told Sheng Zhao about it. Sheng Zhao patted Mu Chichi's head after he heard about it. It's easy. Grandpa Sheng will not reject it for the sake of his relationship with the Shin family. Moreover, it was related to the reputation of the Sheng family. Mu Chichi's idea was to let Grandpa Sheng catch them in the act when they met. Then she would get the evidence and hand it over to her grandfather. Then Grandpa Sheng would arrange for Shin Rui to join the army. She wanted her to join the army before she passed the age limit. If she refused, the media would expose those photos to the public. It was the last bit of mercy she could give to Shin Rui. It was also the only chance for Shin Rui to turn over a new leaf. After all, it was the Shin family. Grandpa Sheng certainly did not want to deal with this hot potato. So he agreed to Xing Zhao's suggestion. Then he asked his secretary to find out eldest brother Sheng's whereabouts. There were still 2 days left before the VVIP night of Huang Yao. Eldest brother Sheng felt lonely after he finished his work. Then he thought of Xin Ruoyi, who was staying in the villa. So eldest brother Sheng drove to the villa at night. At the same time, Grandpa Sheng called Xing Minghui over. I saw your eldest brother going out just now. Your sister-in-law is not at home. Let's follow him and see where he went. Xing Minghui was stunned when she heard that. She said quickly, Grandpa, I don't think it's a good idea. There's nothing bad about it. I will ask your aunt and the butler to come along. They are all elders. You're a junior. It's just right. Grandpa, there's nothing else to say. Let's go now. Xing Minghui was very nervous. Her palms were sweating. She wanted to send a message to Xin Ruoyi. But Grandpa Sheng had seen through her intention. He said to her, Give me your phone. I know your eldest brother treats you very well. It's inevitable that you will want to send him a message. Xing Minghui was reluctant. But she still took out her phone and passed it to Grandpa Sheng. Let's go now. Xing Minghui followed behind Grandpa Sheng. But at the same time she felt a chill down her spine. Grandpa Sheng saw eldest brother Sheng leaving with his own eyes. How would he know where eldest brother Sheng went? Wouldn't it be too late to follow him now? And the reason why Grandpa Sheng could do that was because he knew where eldest brother Sheng was going. Chapter 3:14. Moreover, Grandpa Sheng had invited her. That meant that Grandpa Sheng might not only know about Xin Ruoyi. He might even know that she was in cahoots with Xin Ruoyi. Xing Minghui started to sweat when she thought about it. Minghui, are you not feeling well? Mama Sheng asked, even though she already knew the answer. It was because she knew that Xing Minghui was feeling guilty. There was no other reason. No. Xing Minghui smiled embarrassedly. I'm just feeling a little hot. Just bear with it. We'll be there soon. Grandpa Sheng looked at her coldly. Obviously, Grandpa Sheng had leaked the news on purpose. He wanted to see Xing Minghui's reaction. He wanted her to be afraid. At the same time, Xing Xiao received a message from Mama Sheng in Jingting. She was on the way to catch the adulterer with Grandpa Sheng. I want to join in the fun too. But if I show up, I will definitely provoke Xin Ruoyi. Don't worry. I will take a clear picture. You will feel like you are there. Go to hell. Xing Zhao's words made Mu Qiqi laugh. Not long after, they arrived at the villa. At that moment, the lights in the villa were actually from the living room. They hadn't reached the bedroom yet. The butler will knock on the door later. Because Grandpa Sheng would never let Xing Minghui get close to the villa and inform the people in the house. Yes, Grandpa. In the room, Xin Ruoyi was making supper for eldest brother Sheng. She had waited so long for this man to show up. Of course, she had to seize the opportunity. Ever since she moved into the villa, she had been wearing revealing clothes. It was because she did not know when eldest brother Sheng would attack her. For example, tonight. Eldest brother Sheng looked at Xin Ruoyi from behind. He was excited. Eldest brother, it's almost ready. It's okay. Take your time. I'm not in a hurry. Eldest brother Sheng said thoughtfully. Soon, Xin Ruoyi walked to eldest brother Sheng with a bowl and a pair of chopsticks. She touched the man's body. If it weren't for you, I would have become a prostitute. You are Uncle Shen's granddaughter, this is what I should do. Eldest brother? Xin Ruoyi held eldest brother Sheng's hand. I don't know how to repay you. Why don't you marry me? Then I'll feel more at ease. I'm willing to be your lover. I don't want you to divorce me or marry me. This, if it wasn't, would you despise me? How could eldest brother Sheng hold back when a beauty was in his arms and she was the one who threw herself at him? So he pulled her onto his thighs. The two of them had been harboring thoughts in their hearts to begin with. Once the fire was ignited, it naturally couldn't be stopped. The lights in the living room quickly turned on to the bedroom. At this time, Grandpa Sheng also signaled to the butler, Go. Xing Minghui's heart was pounding when she saw the butler getting out of the car. The butler kept ringing the doorbell downstairs, which made the people who were in the middle of passion very impatient. So when eldest brother Xing opened the door in his pajamas, he was very angry. Who is it? The butler immediately stepped aside. Eldest brother Sheng's expression changed when he saw Grandpa Sheng behind the old butler. Grandpa, why are you here? Minghui, walk in front. Grandpa Sheng didn't care. He asked Xing Minghui to clear the way. After all, it was a woman inside. As an elder, it was not appropriate for him to do so. Grandpa, I'm the only one inside. There's no one else. Butler, stop him. Xiaoqin, go upstairs and look for her. Grandpa Sheng entered the living room of the villa and ordered. Mama Xing nodded and went upstairs. At this moment, Xing Minghui's heart was already in her throat. Then a scream came from upstairs. It was because Xin Rui was naked in the bedroom. She could imagine how intense the two of them were just now. And when she heard the scream, Xing Minghui knew that Xin Rui was doomed. Soon, Mama Xing went downstairs and brought Xin Rui, who had already put on her clothes. Then she walked to Grandpa Xing. Eldest brother Xing quickly explained when he saw that. "Father, it's not what you think. Are you trying to tell me that a man and a woman are alone in a room and you are just talking about poems?" Grandpa Xing sounded very angry. "Bastard, are you still a human? You are not looking for anyone. You are not stealing from anyone. Why are you looking for the Shen family? Is this something you can do? Father, I think you have to cure this problem of yours. Xiao Qin has the evidence about what happened tonight. She will share it with the Shen family later. If I find out that you are fooling around outside, you will lose your identity as the eldest young master of the Sheng family." Grandpa Xing threatened. Eldest brother Xing knew that Grandpa Xing was very angry, so he could only give in. After all, he had caught Xin Rui in bed. What about Xin Rui? She lowered her head and knelt on the floor. She did not have the face to look at Grandpa Xing. "Rui, you are a lady from a respectable family. Why did you do such an outrageous thing?" She was caught in bed. It would have been better if she was caught by eldest brother Xing's wife. But it was Grandpa Xing. He was an elder. What else did she have at this moment other than shame and anger? Just like how she was wearing clothes now. But it was no different from not wearing anything. Xin Rui looked up and saw Xing Minghui. Her eyes were filled with hatred. "Xing Minghui, why did you tell me? Did you want to kick me away after using me?" Xing Minghui's face turned green when she heard that. "It has nothing to do with me. You are a member of the Shen family. It is not easy for me to deal with you. So, I will pass these photos to your grandfather." "Xin Rui, among the noble families, even the little girl from the Lu family is better than you. Because you treat yourself as a prostitute. I did not expect that you would have designs on eldest brother. You are even willing to be eldest brother's lover. You will be the sinner of the Sheng family for doing such a shameful thing. As long as you are in the territory of the Sheng family, you will not be spared. But you have to go through Grandpa Shen first. After all, no matter how bad you are, you still have the blood of the Shen family." She was caught red-handed by Grandpa Shen. Xin Rui knew that she might not have a chance to make a comeback in this life. She thought that she could still stir up some trouble. But now, it seemed that she was just a piece of meat on someone else's chopping board. "Xiao Qin, send Xin Rui back to the Shen family with the butler later." "Grandpa Shen, can you let me go?" Xin Rui knew that she was going back to the Shen family. So she quickly looked up and begged. Chapter 315. Xing Minghui was stunned when she heard that. She knelt down on the ground immediately. Grandpa Xing glanced at her and said, "It's not too late to kneel down when we get home. Eldest brother, change your clothes now and go back to the Sheng family. We will settle the score tonight." Xing Minghui felt as if she had been struck by lightning when she heard that. Because she had a feeling that Grandpa Xing would not let her go so easily this time. Soon, Grandpa Xing brought eldest brother and Xing Minghui back to the Sheng family. The rest of the Sheng family also received the news that Grandpa Xing wanted all the Shengs in Jianchuan to be present tonight. So, it was not hard to imagine how serious this matter was. Xing Minghui knelt in the living room of the Sheng family like a sinner. The rest of the Sheng family, including Xing Xiao and Mu Qiqi, came to the Sheng family. Xing Minghui's father was present. But he could not do anything to his daughter. So he just let her be. After all, he still had a son. So, he did not find it strange that Xing Minghui was kneeling in front of him. He could only look at her coldly. Xing Minghui kept crying. But even the gods could not save her this time. About an hour later, the living room of the Xing family became quiet. Because everyone was looking at Xing Minghui. "Eldest brother, come out first." Eldest brother sighed helplessly. He walked to Xing Minghui and faced Grandpa Xing. "Grandpa, this person? This is the one. He is so daring. He could have any mistresses. Do you know who he is fooling around with? With Xin Rui. Xing Xiao is unmarried. I don't mind. But how long have you been married? Being lecherous is not the limit. After all, this bastard has done many affairs over the years. But, can you use your brain? You are being tricked by your own sister and you don't even know it. Why do you think Xin Rui came to you? Because she knows that you are lecherous. She knows that you are easy to fool. What happened today is a reminder to you, eldest brother. If you do anything wrong to your wife, don't ever appear in front of me again. I can't afford to lose my face. It was the first time that his private life was mentioned in front of so many people in the Sheng family. But it also meant that Grandpa Sheng could not stand it anymore. Therefore, the eldest could only admit that he was unlucky. I understand, Grandpa. Get lost if you got it. Let's settle the score with this idiot today. Grandpa Sheng turned to Xing Minghui. Then he walked up to Seventh Sister, pinched her chin and asked her, "What were you thinking? Why would you introduce a lover to your brother? Is your brain damaged? Or are you blind? Are you sick?" Grandpa Sheng asked as he patted Xing Minghui's face. "Introducing mistresses to my brother? How did you do that?" In Xing Minghui's eyes, there was only fear and horror. "You still want to contact the Lu family? You even leaked Huang Yao's secrets? If it was in the past, I would have strangled you to death. You're lucky to be born in a society ruled by law. Xing Minghui, how many chances have I given you? Ever since you brought a woman home for eighth brother, I've noticed that your way of thinking is very strange. Can you tell me what's wrong with you?" Xing Minghui couldn't stop sobbing. She cried so hard that she couldn't control herself. Meanwhile, the Sheng family simply watched and could only watch. "What's wrong with me? I even wanted to hand over the planning department to you. But what did you do? Are you worthy of all the years of training I've given you?" Xing Minghui sobbed. She could only hug Grandpa Sheng's leg tightly. "Grandpa, I'm wrong. I'm really wrong. It's because Mu Chichi always went against me. That's why I was bewitched. That's why I did such a stupid thing. It's not that Mu Chichi went against you. It's just that you can't bear to see someone better than you." Grandpa Xing corrected her. Xing Xiao looked at Xing Minghui coldly. Then he held her hand. It was rare for the old man to speak a word of justice. "Grandpa, it's not like that. I really didn't do it. I did it for the Sheng family." "You leaked the information about Huang Yao for the Sheng family?" Xing Minghui could not argue back. So she hugged Grandpa Sheng's leg tightly. "Grandpa," however, Grandpa Xing shook her off completely. "What right do I have to be your grandfather? Did I teach you to betray your brother and your family?" "Everyone is here today, including Xing Minghui's father. The Sheng family cannot tolerate this person anymore. I don't want to see her ever again. So, I've asked all of you to come here today. I want all of you to know that this person is officially removed from the Sheng family. In the future, if I find out that any of you are related to this person, don't blame me for being merciless." Xing Minghui was stunned when she heard what Grandpa Xing said. She couldn't say a word because she knew that it was useless to beg for mercy. So, she turned around and looked at Mu Chichi with extreme hatred in her eyes. "Mu Chichi, you set me up, didn't you? You told Grandpa about it, didn't you? Butler, pack her things now. Send her out of the Sheng family tonight. Other than her clothes, don't let her take anything from the Sheng family. Not even a piece of cloth." "Yes, master." The butler left immediately. He did not give Xing Minghui any chance. Then the butler went to Xing Minghui's room. Seeing that there was nothing she could do, Xing Minghui sat on the floor helplessly. She looked around at everyone in the Sheng family, including her father. "Father, please save me." Her father just sat where he was and waved his hand. How could he not be upset? But was there any use in being upset? When Xing Minghui saw that she could not plead with the person closest to her, she finally turned her gaze to her enemy Mu Chichi. "Mu Chichi, please save me. I was wrong. I shouldn't have gone against you." Mu Chichi looked at Xing Minghui kowtowing and begging. She felt emotional. That was the path of humans. When you lost your conscience and made a deal with the devil, you should have thought of this day. You've just left the Sheng family. You still have your hands to support yourself. Your sorrow now is because you are about to lose your glamorous appearance and luxurious life. Why do you want me to save you? You're still alive. Soon, the Sheng family who had been watching the show left the hall. Then, the butler took Xing Minghui's luggage and came to her side. "Miss Sheng, please." Eldest brother Sheng was scared when he saw Xing Minghui's tragic ending. This was the limit of Grandpa's patience. Of course, Mu Chichi did not think that she had won, because one day she might get the same treatment as Xing Minghui. When Grandpa Xing found a suitable wife for Xiao Xiao. But she would not end up like Xing Minghui. Chapter 316. Mama Xing sent Xin Rui back to the Xin family. Although Grandpa Xin was mentally prepared, he was still disappointed and sad when he saw Xin Rui being sent back to the Xin family. "Xiao Qin, I'm sorry for causing trouble to the Sheng family. Grandpa Xin Rui is indeed at fault. But Seventh Sister is responsible for it. So don't blame yourself too much." Mama Xing comforted Grandpa Xin. "I've sent the photo to Huang Yu. I've also sent her back. I'm going back to the Sheng family now. Huang Yu, send Xiaoqin off. Grandpa Shin waved his hand and asked Huang Yu to send her off. Then Grandpa Shin sat in the living room of the Shin family's courtyard. He looked at Shin Ruoi, who was lying on the ground. He patted his knee and spoke after a while. I've been innocent all my life. I didn't expect to meet a bastard like you when I'm so old. Shin Ruoi was lying on the ground. She looked really pathetic. Grandpa, ask yourself, have you never sided with Mu Chichi since she came to the Shin family? Shin Ruoi was still trying to defend herself. I can only do whatever I can when I meet a bastard like Mu Chichi. Even now, you're still trying to push your mistake onto Chichi? The old man's hands, which were on his knees, couldn't help but tremble. I don't want to talk to you about any big principles now. It's impossible to talk to animals. What do you want now? Do I still have a choice? Shin Ruoi sneered. Don't you have the scented pills given by the Shing family? Since you know your place, it's easy. Get ready to join the army. Shin Ruoi's face turned pale when she heard the word join the army. She was such a delicate young lady. She would never see the light of day in the army. Moreover, she would be stuck in the army for 2 years. When she came out, Jianchuan would be a whole new world. Grandpa, do you really want to torture me to death? I do want you dead, but I don't want you to humiliate the Shin family and dirty the Shin family. If you don't go, Huang Yu's evidence will be sent to the media. Since you are already so shameless, then let's be shameless too. Did Shin Ruoi have any other choice? Moreover, Grandpa Shing had already said that he would come after her if he saw her anywhere within the Shing family's sphere of influence. In that case, going to the army was the best place for her at the moment. Grandpa, you really care about me. You've done enough evil. Wake up. From now on, train well in the army. When you come out, you'll be reborn. Moreover, according to Grandpa Shin's arrangement, Shin Lin and Shin Ruoi were not going to join the army in the same place. The place where he wanted Shin Ruoi to go was very harsh. He wanted Shin Ruoi to suffer a lot. Shin Lin, keep an eye on that crazy woman when you arrive at the army. Huang Yu instructed her son. However, Grandpa Shin rejected Huang Yu's suggestion. Shin Lin is going there to fight. There is no need for him to care about an outsider. Moreover, they are not in the same battle zone. Huang Yu was stunned for a moment. She realized that Grandpa Sheng was actually very black-bellied. But, Dad, can this change Shin Ruoi completely? Does it matter whether I change it or not? Since she has entered the army, she won't be able to come out easily in the future. All in all, one young lady from the Sheng and Shin families was sent out of the house in different ways that night. They could not touch or hit the evil people. What else could they do? They could only throw them out and let them die by themselves. In this way, the two elders could be considered to have one less thing to worry about. The one who came up with the idea was Mu Chichi. So, Grandpa Shing suppressed his hatred for her for the time being. He gave her a special privilege. She could dress up and attend the VVIP night in Huangyao. Actually, Mu Chichi wanted to see the result of her plan. She wanted to know if young Master Lu could get his wife back. So, when Mama Sheng told her the news, she was very happy. At the very least, old Sheng was not being too cruel when he exploited her. In the evening of the next day, Grandpa Shin ordered Shin Lin to send Shin Ruoi to the designated recruitment point to attend the selection of female soldiers. Shin Ruoi wanted to run away when she saw Shin Lin was the one who sent her. After all, she thought that Shin Lin could not control her and was not as smart as her. But Shin Lin was not the same Shin Lin who was hurt by Yu Jing. After he received the task from Grandpa Shin, he packed up his things that night. Before they left, he warned Shin Ruoi. I won't stop you if you want to run away. But I will send those photos to the media. You are not a man at all. How dare you threaten a woman? You are a woman. But you are a promiscuous woman? Shin Lin looked at Shin Ruoi coldly. Don't talk nonsense with me. If you want to run away, just run away. If not, just listen to me. What else could Shin Ruoi do? After all, Grandpa Shin had something on her. She had no other choice but to listen to him. Shin Lin seemed to be helping Mu Chichi. So, he spent a lot of effort to take care of Shin Ruoi on the way. Soon the car reached a higher altitude. It was far away from the hustle and bustle of the city. This time, Shin Ruoi finally knew that Grandpa Shin was going to send her to the ends of the earth. If it was in the ancient times, it would be considered as an exile. Now that Shin Ruoi was not in Jianchuan and she would not see Xing Minghui again, Mu Chichi felt much more relaxed. The next morning, Mu Chichi woke up. She wanted to look for jewelry that she could wear tonight. But she found the birthday gift that Lu Chanxiang gave her last time in the drawer. She opened it and saw all kinds of sexy condoms. She did not know where did Lu Chanxiang get them from. Mu Chichi blushed. She quickly kept the box. But Xing Xiao saw it when he walked out of the bathroom. Xing Xiao held her hand and couldn't help smiling. Let's try it tonight? I didn't know that Chanshan would give me these. Xing Xiao pulled Mu Qiqi to the bed and put her between his legs. He looked at her and said, "That's because Lu Chanshan knows what you need." "I don't need it." "I think you need it." "Yes, it's what I need." Xing Xiao held Mu Qiqi's head and kissed her forehead. "I will come back to pick you up in the evening. Let's go to the heartwarming place tonight." "Okay." Mu Qiqi nodded. Chapter 317. There were only 2 young ladies in the Sheng family. Now that Xing Minghui was completely chased out of the family, Grandpa Xing naturally thought of bringing Xing Minglan home. An Will, who had just been engaged to Xing Minghui, knew that his fiancée had become a pauper with nothing. Even if he was infatuated with her body, he would never marry her for real, although he could play around with her. That was why he went to Xing Mansion the next day and asked to cancel the engagement. Naturally, Grandpa Xing would not force it since she was no longer with the Sheng family, and so agreed to Will's request. However, Will shamelessly asked the old man if he could re-engage with Xing Minglan. He had dumped her on the night before the engagement, and now he was eyeing Xing Minglan? Get lost. That was all the old man said to Will. Foreigners would always be foreigners. They had no sense of ethics. Grandpa Xing would never betray Xing Minglan again. Even so, he did want his granddaughter to return to him. Even so, would Xing Minglan be willing to come back now that she had her own company? Of course not. Moreover, Xing Minglan was with Jing Yun now. Even if they could only see each other once a day, she would be content and filled with happiness. That was how they agreed that Jing Yun would pick Xing Minglan up from the company after work at Huangyao. They would have dinner together and Jing Yun would send Xing Minglan home to rest. Sometimes Jing Yun would appear in the morning such as now. Even if it was so simple, Xing Minglan treasured the time she could spend with Jing Yun. She would tell him about the company's situation, and take the chance to take advantage of him. Jing Yun obviously knew what she was trying to do, but he was very cooperative and never showed any signs of impatience. Sometimes, Xing Minglan would take the initiative to ask for a hug even on the streets. Perhaps she had been deprived of love for too long, or perhaps it was because Jing Yun's body smelled too good. Xing Minglan came up with countless such excuses for herself. Now that seventh sister is out of the family and there's no young lady in the Xing family, I have a feeling that Grandpa wants me back. But I don't want to go back at all. You could come out and work if you go back. That's different. If I wanted to see you, I wouldn't be so unscrupulous. Xing Minglan sounded a little sad. Jing Yun tightened his arms around Xing Minglan. Why do I feel so insecure? Burying her head in his arms, Xing Minglan no longer had the domineering air of a fourth miss of the Sheng family or a domineering female Xiao, and was now a helpless little bird. After all, everything else is secondary to me now. I just want to be with you. Holding the umbrella, Jing Yun passed the breakfast to Xing Minglan and sent her into the office. Since it was still early, there was almost no one in the office. Xing Minglan mustered up her courage and pulled his handsome face back the moment he turned around. Then she kissed him. Jing Yun was stunned, but Xing Minglan closed her eyes. Jing Yun did not retreat. Instead, he kissed Xing Minglan's thin lips. He wanted to tell Xing Minglan that it was not that he did not have such a desire, but that he had been suppressing his feelings. Xing Minglan instantly sensed Jing Yun's fervent passion and responded accordingly. By the time they let go of each other, Xing Minglan's lipstick had been completely eaten by Jing Yun. Let's go in. Someone will see us if we don't go in. Xing Minglan nodded, and watched as Jing Yun left reluctantly. She knew that such a life would not last long, but she would try her best to maintain and cherish it. Tonight was Huang Yao's VVIP night. 2 days before the entrance of the publicity department, they had come up with a special promotional strategy, because they knew the direction of Huang Yao's VVIP night. By 6 in the evening, the luxury cars sent by Huang Yao had arrived at the homes of the ladies, because Huang Yao would be escorting the VIPs directly to their destinations. Until now, none of the Huang Yao guests knew that Huang Yao would have 2 main venues this time, and that Mrs. Liu and Mrs. Liu would be at different venues. Sheng Xiao arrived at Jingting at 6:30 in the evening, and found that Mu Qiqi had already changed into a golden spaghetti strap dress. She looked young and confident, and even had the air of a fairy. Seeing Mu Qiqi like that, Sheng Xiao could not wait to press her down on the bed and make love to her madly. Of course, in order to witness tonight's event together, he had to endure it for a while. They quickly set off, and arrived at the romantic Sven Hotel half an hour later. This was the main venue of Huang Yao, and the other venue was located 40 kilometers away. One was in the north and the other was in the south. It was to prevent Mrs. Lu and Mrs. Lu from meeting each other. When the waiter saw them, he immediately led them into the venue. It was Muchichi's first time seeing the layout of the venue. It seemed that the planning department had put in a lot of effort. Because it was a romantic theme, roses and scented candles were the main decorations in the room. Coupled with the dark lighting, the atmosphere was simply wonderful. Is Mrs. Lu here? Muchichi could not help asking the person in charge of the planning department. She just arrived. She is upstairs looking for Mrs. Lu everywhere. Miss Mu, I don't think things will go smoothly tonight. It's okay. Let me know immediately if there's an emergency. That night, most of the guests were discussing the event of Huang Yao. It was a refreshing experience from the moment they arranged the pickup and drop-off. Of course, they were also looking forward to seeing if there would be a fight between Mrs. Lu and Mrs. Lu like before. However, the event started at 7 in the evening, but the guests found that there were only half of the people in the venue today. Where was the other half? And Mrs. Lu, of course, did not find Mrs. Lu, her enemy. Soon it was 7 in the evening. All the screens in the venue immediately showed the scene of the other venue. The guests were shocked when they saw it. Where are they? Are they in Sven Hotel too? Are they upstairs or downstairs? This is so interesting. Huang Yao's event this time is very exciting. I like it. However, unlike the other guests, Mrs. Lu always came at this time of the year to cause trouble for her sister-in-law. Otherwise, there would be no point for her to attend the event. Chapter 318. Madam, I'm really sorry. The other venue is in the north of the city. It's about 2 hours from here, the attendant replied. Because of the traffic congestion in the city, 40 kilometers suddenly became extremely far. I see. First Madam smiled. Huang Yao is playing tricks this year, isn't it? You separated me from that bitch. Find the person in charge or else I'll make a scene. The venue. How could the waiter bear the responsibility? He quickly went to Xing Xiao and Muchichi. They looked at each other and quickly left the guests. They walked up to eldest Madame Lu. However, just as Muchichi was about to speak, Mrs. Lu was about to slap her. But Xing Xiao grabbed her wrist and said coldly, "Do you know who you just touched?" He, Crown Prince. Eldest Mrs. Lu withdrew her hand and sneered. Your fiancé is so smart. She even thought of separating me from that bitch. But do you think I won't cause her trouble after separating us? You guys are too simple-minded. The other side should also be able to see these screens, right? In fact, Xing Xiao had predicted that this would happen. So, the fashion arena was half an hour late. In other words, they were still using the screen to do something else. Muchichi was naturally angry since she was almost slapped. It was especially so when she saw that eldest Madame Lu was still clinging to her hatred after so many years and did not care about her husband. Muchichi felt that eldest Madame Lu deserved it. However, even though he thought so, he still had to do what he had to do. First Madam, can you listen to me before you lose your temper? What? You still want to salvage your failed plan? Lady Lu coldly snorted. She was indeed very beautiful, especially when she was wearing a silver-white dress. Her figure was very graceful. One could imagine how much effort she had put in to win against young Madame Lu. I just feel sorry for eldest young Master Lu. Muchichi mentioned eldest Madame's husband. You only think about revenge, but you don't know that eldest young master used his own reputation to help you take revenge. He courageously married his brother's ex-wife and was stabbed in the back by millions of knives. But what about you? Have you ever thought about him? As far as I know, younger Madame Lu is already having her third child this year. However, you haven't given birth to any children for eldest young master. You have the title of eldest young master's wife and enjoy the treatment of a wife, but you haven't fulfilled the duties of a wife. Who do you think you are taking revenge on? Is that young Mrs. Lu? She's a mother of 3 now. Who did you hurt? Eldest Madame Lu froze at Muchichi's words. After all, she had assumed that Muchichi would talk nonsense to persuade her like any other person. She did not expect that Muchichi would be so blunt. That's none of your business. It has nothing to do with me. I just feel that it's a pity. Do you know how much effort the eldest young master spent to give you such a precious gift? You can't even see the eldest young master in your eyes. You only know how to take revenge. But since you've taken revenge, why can your enemy still have 3 children and live happily? You only remember that you were betrayed. But have you ever thought about who held your hand when you fell into the abyss and gave you the position you have today? If it wasn't for the eldest young master, do you think you would still have the chance to stand here? Muchichi criticized the woman in front of her angrily. The best revenge is to live a happier and more carefree life than that woman. You don't have to exhaust yourself and drag others down. How old is the eldest young master? How many years can he wait for you? Have you thought about it? Eldest madam was silent. None of the people around her, not even her husband, had ever said such things to her. I've never seen a woman more selfish than you. You have such a good husband, but you don't want him. You hurt him so badly. If you really don't like the eldest young master and want revenge, you should just give up your position as his wife. Why would you let your benefactor get hurt? Eldest madam burst into tears at that. After all, Muchichi was accusing her of being a bad woman from head to toe. I hate being betrayed too. I've been hurt countless times, but it's to teach me how to distinguish between good and bad. It's so that I can cherish those who never leave me even when I'm in trouble. If you still want to take revenge, I won't stop you. Tonight, the reason why this place is so warm is because I want to give you and your wife a chance to open your hearts. If you still want to hold on to the past, then you can leave this place. I'll send someone to send you to another place. However, you have to know what you're going to lose tonight. I definitely can't have a husband anymore. No matter how much love I have, it will all disappear. Eldest Madame Lu suddenly panicked at Muchichi's last few words. In fact, she was afraid that her husband could not let her go after so many years. But after Muchichi said so much, she realized that she had been blinded by the situation. She had put all the hurt on her husband. Are you still leaving? Eldest Madame's feet were as heavy as lead. How could she still walk? Then I'll be honest with you. You can't see our conversation just now on the other side. I'll also tell you in advance that young Master Lu is here tonight. Having such a good husband is the biggest blow to that woman, isn't it? The corner of eldest Madame Lu's mouth trembled slightly. Tears were welling up in her eyes. If you still want it, you should let go now. Take revenge on those who hurt you in a brilliant way. Don't be the stupidest person. You'll hurt yourself while hurting your enemy. Can I? Muchichi asked eldest Madame Lu with utmost sincerity in the last 3 words. Eldest Madame Lu thought for a moment. Then, as if she had made up her mind, she said, I'll listen to your arrangement. Everyone present could not help but applaud eldest Madame Lu's courage. Muchichi felt relieved. Then she smiled. If that's the case, there are many surprises waiting for you tonight. Enjoy it. Let the other side be envious of you. All the guests present gave Muchichi a thumbs up. She was the first person who dared to talk to eldest Madame Lu like that. Of course, it was a blow to the head. Then Xing Xiao held Muchichi's waist and reminded her to look outside. Eldest Madame Lu was already at the entrance of the venue with a bouquet of roses. Everyone cheered as well. That was when the other side finally saw the scene. Chapter 319. If eldest sister Lu was a sentimental person who was obsessed with revenge, then the younger Mrs. Lu would be a shrewd person. She did not have a powerful background, but she knew that marrying into a rich family was the only way for her to have a few more sons. This kind of thing, couldn't it be learned from the newspapers? Moreover, after years of evolution, the younger Mrs. Lu had learned how to behave like a rich lady. She knew how to increase her value and how to make a man fall for her. All these years, she had been relying on the eldest Mrs. Lu to target her. Tonight was the VVIP night of Huang Yao. Rumor had it that this event was planned by the 18-year-old bride of the Sheng family. When she appeared in the main venue of the fashion show, she had a hunch that this 18-year-old girl would not be easy to deal with, because she had participated in so many events of Huang Yao. But this was the only time she felt that the VVIP night of Huang Yao had been reborn. The main venue of the fashion show was full of singing and dancing. But it did not have the tacky atmosphere of a nightclub. It was very fashionable and special. Most importantly, there would be countless Easter eggs tonight. Huang Yao would show the latest season's new products to the VIPs. This was a privilege that only the VIPs could have. Looking at her side, the younger Mrs. Lu could not help but feel disappointed when her rival was not there. But soon, the live broadcast from the main venue of the fashion show changed. At this time, the people in the main venue of the fashion show finally understood that Huang Yao had arranged 2 main venues. Of course, they thought that the main venue of the fashion show would be upstairs or downstairs. But the waiter told them that the main venue of the fashion show was on the other side of the city. This kind of exciting arrangement was novel even for the people from the warm home, not to mention the trendy wives who were always studying fashion. So, they were very satisfied with the arrangement of Huang Yao. They were very surprised. At this time, the screen in the main venue of the fashion show was showing the eldest Lu's son entering the main venue of the fashion show with roses in his hand. He walked straight to the eldest Mrs. Lu and knelt down in front of her. Zixin, I don't know if you are ready to be my real wife. But I still want to take this opportunity to give it a try. Seeing this, younger Mrs. Lu took a sip of whiskey and sneered. This woman only has revenge in her heart. How can she have time for love? It was also because the First Lady was focused on revenge that the little madam was quite proud of herself. As young Master Lu entered, the beautiful sound of the violin began to play. Mrs. Lu looked at her husband and thought of what Muchichi had said to her just now. Of course she was touched and guilty. So she covered her mouth and cried out loud. At the same time she reached out and pulled her husband up. Do you still want me? Seeing the two of them hugging each other tightly, the crowd burst into applause. Of course I'm willing. I've been waiting for you to come back. Eldest Mrs. Lu nodded and hugged her husband tightly. At this time, the treasures of the heartwarming home ground were also sent over. The waiter carefully pushed the set of precious jewelry in front of the crowd and introduced it to them. This set of jewelry is called Match Made in Heaven. It was a famous piece of Huang Yao's early years. But because Huang Yao was in a crisis, unfortunately, this set of jewelry was auctioned by the CEO at that time. It has been circulating abroad for many years. Fortunately, young Master Lu has found it. He wants to give this set of jewelry to his beloved wife, Miss Zhang Zixin. He hopes that she can understand that she is the happiest woman in the world. Everyone was amazed when the set of jewelry was presented. It was a priceless treasure for both Huang Yao and the guests. But now it was given to eldest Mrs. Lu. It was priceless. The guests were all amazed by the brilliance of the set of jewelry. Mrs. Lu could not hold back her tears no matter how hard she tried. She said, "For so many years, I have been obsessed with the past and failed to be a good wife. I really feel guilty. In the future I will take good care of you, take good care of this family, and give birth to the cutest baby for you." Eldest Lu put the set of jewelry on eldest Mrs. Lu and said, "You don't have to compare yourself with anyone. Because I am the one who can give you happiness more than my brother. You are the biggest blow to them since the day you married me." Then the two of them hugged each other tightly. At that moment, music suitable for dancing started playing. Eldest Mrs. Lu looked at the two of them on the screen. She was the one who felt uncomfortable now. Because at this moment, the sense of accomplishment she felt when she took everything away from eldest Mrs. Lu was gone. More importantly, that bitch actually had such a priceless set of jewelry. On the other hand, although her husband did not go out to fool around, their love for each other was getting worse day by day. Not to mention jewelry, she rarely saw gifts now. Moreover, he was always working overtime in the company. And this was the result of her hard work. If she did not work hard, her husband would have found a new lover. Mu Chichi was very pleased to see this. She leaned on Xing Zhao's chest and smiled. "Xiao Xiao, don't you think this is good? I really don't understand why eldest Mrs. Lu is so obsessed with revenge." Xing Zhao's eyes were charming. Under the romantic and warm light, he hugged the little one in his arms. The event of Huang Yao this time would be reported in the news. Sure enough, the little one's ability was endless. She was also a little one who made him proud. Now, as long as we are sure that there is no problem at the main venue of the fashion show, we should be safe tonight, right? I will remember you in my heart. What's the use of that? Mu Chichi could not help but snort. Grandpa Xing wanted Xing Minghui to take all the credit. Be good. I will reward you well tonight. That bastard. He was obviously asking for benefits for himself. However, when the two of them were getting intimate, eldest Lu came to them and thanked them. "Miss Mu, I really have to thank you for helping me get my wife back. When you came to me at first, I thought you were just fooling around. I'm sorry for my attitude back then. If you really want to thank me, you should take revenge for your wife. She has had enough of it for so many years." "Don't worry. No, I don't want to take revenge. That bitch is the mother of 3 children now. I don't want to be a sinner." Mrs. Lu came to them and held her husband's hand. She said to them, "Those who owe you emotionally will betray you and they will also betray her. Let's see what happens to her." Chapter 320. Because there was something that he had considered for a long time but did not tell his wife. It was that his brother had another female star outside. Because he pitted his 3 nephews and nieces. He did not want his wife, which made him even more ridiculous. Now that his wife had let it go, then, it would not hurt to say it out. The popular female singer, Mengru, is his new sweetheart. Mu Chichi and Madame Lu were stunned after hearing what eldest Lu said. "Is that true? Zixin, I hid it from you, I know." Mrs. Lu quickly interrupted her husband. "Because you don't want to push me into the abyss of hatred. If it was not for the event in Huang Yao and Sister Chichi's reminder, I would definitely take revenge on that bitch if I knew about it. If that happened, their 3 children would hate me very much. I just did not expect that bitch to snatch a piece of trash after all these years. This way my heart will feel more comfortable. In the future I will be able to live more wholeheartedly. Because Mrs. Lu was a smart woman. She would soon find out what her husband was doing. That was the consequence of being a mistress. There were only 0 or countless times of cheating. I think this is worth a drink. Crown Prince, do you want a drink? Mr. Lu asked Xing Xiao. To thank you I have brought Lafite. Xing Xiao did not move at first. Then he hugged his little one and said, it would be impolite to refuse. Seeing that, Mrs. Lu held Mu Qiqi's hand warmly. Let's keep in touch in the future. I'm really grateful to you. I hope to be friends with you. Okay. Let's have dinner together when we have time. Mu Qiqi nodded. At the same time, the younger Mrs. Lu was irritated by what had happened to Mrs. Lu. She called her husband. Do you know what your brother bought for that bitch? Priceless jewelry. But what about you? Darling, I have handed over all my financial power. Are you still not satisfied? Go and buy whatever you like. After that, the man hung up the phone. Younger Mrs. Lu could only stand in the corridor angrily. At this time, a long-haired woman in a white dress walked to younger Mrs. Lu and said, last week, someone saw your husband shopping with a female star. They were hugging each other intimately. Nonsense. Do I need to lie to you? They're just pitiful people in this circle. Then the woman took out her phone and showed her a photo. I was wondering why Meng Ru suddenly became popular recently. Turns out it's all because of your husband. Younger Mrs. Lu was stunned when she saw the picture. I'm at home giving birth to this bastard and he's actually out fooling around? Forgive me for being blunt, but aren't you the one who hooked up with him? The woman laughed. It's not that I'm being nosy, but Meng Ru is an artist in my brother's company. She's always restless. I'm afraid that she's plotting something against my brother, so I sent someone to follow her. I didn't expect that. It's a gift for you tonight. Younger Mrs. Lu clenched her fists after hearing that. She could not control herself at all. So she did not finish the event in Huangyao. Instead she called her husband again. Where are you? I'm working overtime in the company. Then she went to her husband's company but there was no one there. Then she went online to check Meng Ru's whereabouts. She knew that she was attending an event and was resting in one of the hotels. So she drove there and took out a small package. She asked the receptionist, this is Mr. Lu Changfeng's thing. He asked me to bring it to him but I don't have his room number. Can you pass it to him for me? Yes, ma'am. Then younger Mrs. Lu hid in a corner. The receptionist called the room number. About 5 minutes later she saw her husband coming downstairs. Then she paid the waiter to follow her husband upstairs to see which room he was staying in. Soon the waiter told her that he was staying in the room next to Meng Ru's. After knowing the news, younger Mrs. Lu's body trembled. She could finally understand how eldest Mrs. Lu felt. She wanted to go up and tear that mistress into pieces. No, to prevent herself from ending up like eldest Mrs. Lu, younger Mrs. Lu immediately called her people. She wanted to catch the bastard in the act and get the evidence. Then she would have the right to speak in court. Stealing was stealing after all. She did not expect her retribution to come so soon. No, she didn't even know that what she had stolen was a bomb that had been planted a long time ago. That night, Huang Yao's event was very successful. Both the main venues were highly praised by the guests. The next day, some pictures of Huang Yao's event were also on the hot search list. Of course it was a hot topic. Following this topic there was another piece of gossip on the list. The popular female singer, Meng Ru, was caught in the act last night. She was the lover of the second son of the Lu family. Seeing this, eldest Mrs. Lu could understand why that bitch was not there last night. It turned out that she had gone to catch the adulterer. She always knew that bitch was smart. But no matter how smart she was, she would still be betrayed by that man. Still, she did not expect that younger Mrs. Lu would find out so quickly. Huang Yao's event had a beautiful turnaround. And Mu Qiqi, the main planner, was also being talked about. Wasn't she the young bride of the Sheng family? She was already engaged to the crown prince at the age of 18. And with the success of the event, it turned out that she was not only young, but also very creative. Everyone began to agree with Sheng Zhao's judgment. She was not just full of collagen. She was also very capable. On the other hand, the matter of the Lu family was also on the entertainment gossip list. Eldest Mrs. Lu announced that she had given up on revenge last night. And younger Mrs. Lu went to catch her husband in the act. It must be said that it was very ironic. Mu Qiqi liked watching dramas, especially such a good one. It was said that there was a cycle of karma. But she did not expect that the consequences would be so violent. The next day Huang Yao announced another celebration banquet. And Grandpa Sheng called Xing Xiao and asked him to bring Muqiqi home. Even if Grandpa Sheng did not acknowledge Muqiqi, he had to give Muqiqi a reward. Who asked her to organize Huang Yao's event so beautifully. Chapter 321. And yet, there had been no news of seventh sister for days after she was chased out of the Sheng family, and the Sheng family certainly did not dare to contact her. Even so, sixth brother was furious when he returned from a business trip. After all, seventh sister was his own sister. And she was chased out of the house by the old man just like that? That was why he went to Grandpa Sheng the moment he got home. Grandpa, no matter how wrong seventh sister is, she is still the blood of the Sheng family and the roots of the Sheng family. It's unacceptable that you would chase your own granddaughter away for an outsider. Don't you know what your sister has done? Old Master Sheng retorted. Even so, you have punished her. Can't I, her brother, help her? She is the young lady of the Sheng family. How could she live if she is kicked out like this? Sixth brother, watch your tone. Who doesn't know that you love eighth brother the most in this family? Now, even if eighth brother wants the moon in the sky, you will help him get it. Moreover, you are just chasing your own granddaughter out? Sixth brother snorted coldly. All right, you family have dinner tonight. I will go out to look for my sister. Old Sheng could not help taking a deep breath. But there was nothing he could do about sixth brother. After all, seventh sister was his own sister. And when sixth brother left the Sheng residence, he ran into Xing Xiao and Muqiqi entering the house. His rage flared when he saw them. You've chased your own sister out for a woman like that. You're really something, eighth brother. Xing Xiao knew that dinner was not going to be a good one at that and smiled in return. What do you look like? Is this the first time you've seen me? Femme fatale. Do you really think that grandfather would tolerate her? He would still have to wait for 2 years and break up when you get tired of her. Xing Xiao, do you think it's worth it to hurt your own sister for a little girlfriend you would break up with sooner or later? Xing Xiao shielded Muqiqi and rolled his eyes. Who said we would break up? It's only a matter of time. With that, sixth brother walked past them and left the Sheng residence. That was when the old man came out, his face equally gloomy. Eighth brother, you two come in. Xing Xiao put his arm around Muqiqi and the two of them followed Grandpa Sheng into his study. In order not to anger sixth brother, Muqiqi should not return to the Sheng family for now. That way we can avoid conflicts. In fact, Grandpa Sheng was regretting chasing Sheng Minghui away. After all, she was his granddaughter. No matter how angry he was, it would be over soon. So, in retrospect, Grandpa Sheng was now blaming Muqiqi for everything. Did you ask us to come back just to say that? The look in Xing Xiao's eyes was clearly unpleasant. It was a sign that he was about to get angry. Also, you did a good job with the Huang Yao event. It was just a casual compliment, and it didn't come from his heart. The old man just brushed it off. He didn't even think about how he had made things difficult for others before. Now you're starting to regret it. Old Seven was driven away, right? That's why you can't be bothered to see cheer. Moreover, you're even more upset after sixth brother made a fuss, right? Eighth brother, don't be like your sixth brother. Go against me at this time. The dinner tonight is cancelled. You two should go back. Grandpa Sheng said to them impatiently. What did he mean by being fickle? That was it. Muqiqi didn't want Xing Xiao to argue with Grandpa Sheng. So she pulled him and said, Xiao Xiao, let's go home. Xing Xiao didn't say anything else. He just held Muqiqi in his arms. Let your sixth brother negotiate the contract tomorrow. Bring your seventh sister back too. Pretend that nothing happened. Just pretend that I don't exist in the Sheng family. Having said that, Xing Xiao turned around and walked out of the study without looking back. However, when he entered the dining room and saw the rich dishes, Xing Xiao didn't say anything. He signaled the servants to flip the table so that no one could eat. Grandpa Sheng was also very angry, especially when Xing Xiao threatened him. Could it be that Huang Yao couldn't succeed without him, the crown prince? Tomorrow he would ask sixth brother to hand over all the projects that Xing Xiao was currently working on to him. Mama Xing didn't know what happened at all. She only heard from the butler that sixth brother left angrily. Then Xing Xiao and Grandpa Sheng had a big fight. After that, Xing Xiao asked the servants to flip the table. Grandpa Sheng also came late at night and gave the order to hand over all the projects that Xing Xiao was working on to sixth brother. Did that mean that he wanted to change the crown prince? After Mama Sheng heard that, she knew that this incident was caused by Grandpa Sheng's fickle emotions. So, she didn't want to persuade her son to bow down to him. No one wanted their child to be wronged. If sixth brother could do what Xing Xiao did, he wouldn't have been doing nothing for so many years. But since Grandpa Xing wanted to make this bet, she would make it. Anyway, she would never let her child be wronged for the sake of harmony. On the way back, Mu Qiqi looked at Xing Xiao worriedly. Because in her impression, Xing Xiao had never been so angry for anyone. What? Are you blaming yourself again? No. Mu Qiqi quickly shook her head. I'm just worried that you're too angry. Little one, I didn't dote on you for nothing. Xing Xiao laughed in anger and brought Mu Qiqi back to Jing Ting. Then he threw her a laptop and a gold card. You're on vacation anyway. Let's find a nice place and go on a trip. Are you serious? Didn't you hear what Grandpa said? Let sixth brother take over. Xing Xiao pinched Mu Qiqi's chin. I couldn't ask for more. Then I'll really find a place. Xing Xiao kissed her on the lips and nodded. Find someone you like. While you're at it, let's see how capable sixth brother is. Was Grandpa Xing trying to keep Xing Xiao in check? That old man really didn't understand his grandson. Xing Xiao was never one to care about those things, and he didn't care about his status in Huangyao. If Grandpa Xing dared to blacklist him in Jianchuan, he could make him regret it for the rest of his life. After all, Xing Xiao was a man who wouldn't be swayed by force or persuasion. Since the Sheng family didn't acknowledge he didn't need their acknowledgement either. Sheng Minglan heard the news from Jing Yun in the middle of the night. She wanted to call Xing Xiao and comfort him. But when she thought about it, she decided to let Xing Xiao vent his anger. It was obvious that Grandpa Xing was being irresponsible this time. It was unreasonable. Although he was never reasonable. But against an opponent like Xing Xiao, it was like a king meeting a king. A checkmate. Chapter 322. Sixth brother did not manage to find Xing Minghui as he wished. Even with Grandpa Sheng's tacit approval, Xing Minghui seemed to have vanished from the face of the earth. There was no news of him no matter how hard he tried. This made sixth brother hate Mu Qiqi even more. Who asked Mu Qiqi to lose his sister? Even so, it was not all bad. Because Grandpa Xing finally knew how arrogant Xing Xiao was. He was going to kick him out of Huangyao. In fact, what power did Xing Xiao have in Huangyao all these years? He paid the most but got the least in return. Moreover, he was hated by the Sheng family. If that was the case, and if the other members of the Sheng family were so powerful, then let sixth brother take over. When that time comes, Grandpa Xing better not go to him and beg him. How could Grandpa Xing not know how important Xing Xiao was to Huangyao? However, he didn't like eighth brother's threatening face. He didn't believe that if one person wasn't as good as eighth brother, he would find 10 people to replace him. There were so many capable people in the world. How could he not find someone to replace that bastard? Since he wanted to fool around with Mu Qiqi, then he would fulfill his wish. The next day, Grandpa Xing announced to the public that his sixth grandson would temporarily take over Xing Zhao's work. He also asked Jing Yun to hand over the documents to sixth brother. There was an uproar in Huangyao. What was Grandpa Xing doing? Jing Yun was very straightforward. He threw all the documents that piled up like a mountain to sixth brother. When sixth brother saw it, he immediately said to Jing Yun, Jing Yun, are you joking? You want me to deal with all these? This is only 1/3 of what young master has dealt with before. There will be more later. Sixth brother was shocked. You mean eighth brother used to deal with it like this? This is only 1/3 of what we have today. Jing Yun explained and left the office. Then he went to Mama Sheng and said, Madam, I have been with young master since I was young. Since the chairman has changed and no longer values young master, I will apply for a transfer. Or you can fire me. Jing Yun, you can't leave. You know very well how messy sixth brother will be. I'm not asking you to interfere. You just need to remember everything so that when eighth brother comes back in the future, it won't be so difficult for him to deal with it. Mama Sheng said to Jing Yun. I know you feel indignant for Xing Xiao. So do I. But I will not tolerate anyone bullying my son. Even if he wants to leave Huangyao, it is his own will. Jing Yun nodded. But I will not pay for sixth young master's mistake. Jing Yun, you are meticulous and mature. I'm not worried about you at all. Since Madam said so, then he would do so. It was also a good chance for the old man to understand that if Huangyao had not had Xing Xiao all these years, how could they talk about expanding their territory? How could they talk about grand ambitions? Dream on. The situation in Huangyao seemed to be very tense, but the person who stepped down was very relaxed in Jingting. He did not have to wake up early or read the piles of documents. Xing Xiao could hug his little one and sleep until he woke up naturally. He would exercise in the morning and read medical books with her in the afternoon. Such leisure time was not something he could have at any time. I asked you to pick a place to go. Have you decided? For example, right now, Muchichi was leaning against Xing Xiao's chest and flipping through a book when she suddenly heard the question. Muchichi turned to look at Xing Xiao and shook her head. I don't know where to go. I don't know if I should go. What are you afraid of? Xing Xiao asked her in return. Afraid that I will lose my position as the crown prince? Or afraid that I will become poor and can't afford to support you? I'm afraid that you won't be able to be happy no matter how far you go. After Xing Xiao heard that, he closed her medical book. I have patience. This time, Xing Xiao had made up his mind to compete with the old man. That was why he might not agree even if the old man begged him to go back. He had done so much for Huang Yao over the years. How could the old man replace him just like that? If he could, he would return all the hard work he had put in over the years. He could at least make Huang Yao's business go back by more than 10 years. That was why Xing Xiao received countless phone calls during the day at home. All of them were the same. It has nothing to do with me. You can break the contract if you want. Or should I introduce you to a better supplier? I don't want the counter anymore. I won't renew the contract. In just one day, 10% of the contracts in Xing Xiao's hands had been terminated. When the old man learned about it, he flew into a rage. Since he wants to play like this, I'll play with him to the end. Even Mama Sheng was dismissive of the old man's vow. Did he really think that Xing Xiao had been relying on Huang Yao all these years? In the evening, Sheng Minglan spoke to Mama Sheng on the phone. She knew that the old man and Xing Xiao were really angry. That was why she rushed to Jing Ting with Jing Yun at night. But when she saw that Xing Xiao was still so carefree, she was really, I've worried about you for nothing. You should at least cooperate with the old man and show some fear. I'm very scared now. Xing Xiao hugged Muchichi, his face languid. Xing Minglan couldn't help chuckling. No one can do anything to you. Xing Xiao looked at Xing Minglan and then at Jing Yun. You don't have to come and see me. If you have the time, you might as well play with Jing Yun. But if you do that, the old man will hold a grudge against Muchichi even more. No matter what, he will blame it on Muchichi. Do you think you will forget it if I give in? Xing Xiao asked Xing Minglan in return. He never planned to accept Qi from the start. Of course he won't let us get married. But it doesn't matter. I have other plans. Xing Xiao knew the old man's thoughts and behavior better than anyone else. That was why he would never give in. If he gave in now, the old man would have endless troubles in the future. So you are going to stay at home all this time? Not do anything? When I have time, I'll visit my father-in-law, my aunt, and bring Qi around. Xing Minglan sweated at Xing Zhao's answer. The Sheng family was like ants on a hot pan, but he did not seem to be in a hurry at all. Well, it was time for the old man to rein in his desire for control. There was really nothing he could do against a cunning and black-bellied grandson like Xing Xiao. After dinner, Xing Minglan and Jing Yun left Jing Ting. Xing Minglan couldn't help chuckling when she thought of Xing Zhao's carefree face. Grandpa really doesn't understand how much he hurts Xing Zhao's heart by doing this. Chapter 323. So, young master will make Huang Yao bleed this time, Jing Yun replied. He will leave a deep impression on the chairman. I hope Grandpa can learn his lesson too. But won't Xing Xiao? It's almost impossible for the chairman to suppress young master. You should know that young master is friends with people from all walks of life. Even foreign princes will show him some respect. Under such circumstances, the chairman can't do anything to young master other than to stop him from interfering with Huang Yao's business. And young master's savings can last him for several lifetimes even if he doesn't work in this life. Xing Minglan nodded in relief. Xing Xiao was the most cunning person in the Sheng family. Even a cunning rabbit would have 3 burrows, not to mention someone as smart as Xing Xiao. So she was worried for nothing. Grandpa, you are so heartless sometimes. Are you afraid? If he can treat young master like this, he can treat us like this in the future. Jing Yun suddenly asked Xing Minglan. But Xing Minglan was not afraid at all. She leaned her head on Jing Yun's shoulder and replied, I will follow you no matter what. After Xing Minglan and Jing Yun left, Muchichi looked at Xing Xiao and asked, Are you going to the Shen family to see Dad? I haven't fished for a long time. Muchichi thought that he was not going there to fish. He was going there to reassure Grandpa and Dad. Even if he was not the crown prince of Huang Yao, he could still give her a stable life. Muchichi felt warm and took the initiative to bite his lips. Why do you like me so much? Being bitten by Muchichi, Xing Zhao's bones softened. He hugged Muchichi. How can I like you more? When they reached the bedroom, Muchichi was placed on the bed. But she suddenly remembered the birthday gift Chanshan gave her. She blushed and said to Xing Xiao, "Why don't we try the gift Chanshan gave her?" Xing Xiao's eyes darkened instantly. Muchichi looked a little unnatural and embarrassed. "I don't want to waste things." Xing Xiao lifted Muchichi's chin and bit the tip of her nose. "As you wish." Then there was only endless moaning and panting in the bedroom. An ambiguous atmosphere instantly filled the entire space. The next day, Huang Yao's situation continued to deteriorate. At that time, Xing Xiao drove Muchichi to the Shin family. When Grandpa Shin saw them, he knew about the fight between Xing Xiao and Grandpa Shin. He couldn't help but snort. At this time, Shin Jianchuan was doing rehabilitation. This was the first time Muchichi saw Shin Jianchuan doing rehabilitation. With his daughter's encouragement, Shin Jianchuan did even better than usual. "Why did you suddenly return?" "It's the holidays, so I came back to see you and Grandpa." Muchichi smiled. "Xiao Xiao is talking to Grandpa. This kid." Shin Jianchuan knew Xing Xiao's intention and laughed. "Why did he have to come all this way? Don't the Shin family know what he is capable of? It can be said that I've taken you seriously. Aren't you happy that someone is so nice to your daughter?" Shin Jianchuan reached out and patted Muchichi's head. It was his daughter's obedient head. Of course, he gradually acknowledged Xing Xiao. At least, this kid had more backbone and courage than he did in the past. No matter what happened, he would protect his woman first. That was the responsibility a man should have. The father and daughter were chatting in the rehabilitation room while Grandpa Shin was fishing with Xing Xiao. From time to time, Grandpa Shin would look at Xing Xiao. "Are you going to keep fighting with your grandfather like this? If I don't acknowledge it's challenging my bottom line." Xing Xiao replied calmly. "Whoever hurts my heart, I'll make them suffer." Grandpa Shin smiled when he heard that. "Since you have the time to stay at home, you should stay for a few more days. The fish in my pond are very fat." "Sure." Xing Xiao agreed. As a matter of fact, he should have informed Su Zipei about the small mansion as well, but she would definitely not be well informed about the Xing family. That was why he would bring Muchichi to stay there for a few days to make the little one happy. After wiping her father's face, Muchichi and Shin Jianchuan went to Grandpa Shin's fish pond. When she saw that they were really fishing, she suddenly felt that such a life was actually quite good. The family would always be together no matter what. At night, after dinner, Huang Yu held Muchichi's hand while Shin Jianchuan chatted with Xing Xiao in the yard. "What if old Xing doesn't acknowledge Muchichi for the rest of his life and forbid you from getting married?" "What do you mean? You won't let me marry into your family?" Xing Xiao asked Shin Jianchuan in return. Shin Jianchuan gave Xing Xiao a thumbs up at his answer. "You win." If Grandpa Xing knew what Xing Xiao was thinking, he would probably go mad with rage. But Shin Jianchuan could not care less. Compared to the friendship between the two families, his daughter's happiness was more important. In fact, Xing Xiao was really a magical person. It seemed that no one in the world could do anything to him, but he had a weakness, Xiao. At 10 o'clock, Muchichi finally finished chatting with Huang Yu. Then she went to the yard and said to Xing Xiao and Shin Jianchuan, "It's time to rest." It was the first time Muchichi stayed at the Shin family's house, even though she was already a Shin. There were many rooms in the yard, and Grandpa Shin only needed to make some arrangements. After turning off the lights, they lay on the bed. Muchichi could not help but ask Xing Xiao, "What did you and Dad talk about?" "We talked about when you can marry me." Xing Xiao kissed Muchichi's forehead. "We talked about how we can be together for a long time in this lifetime." The moon was shining brightly in the sky. It was supposed to be the time to rest. But sixth brother was still working overtime in the company. It was because he was not as capable as Xing Xiao. In the past, he would not be able to finish Xing Xiao's workload in 3 days. And this was just the basic work. When the other party heard that Huang Yao had changed the person in charge, he did not talk to him at all. He directly hung up the phone and cancelled the cooperation. Sixth brother was miserable beyond words. In just 2 or 3 days he was on the verge of breaking down. More importantly, he complained to Grandpa Shin the next day. He said that he could not finish so much work. He did not know what Xing Xiao had said to the other party, but they did not talk to him at all. Grandpa Shin's face darkened. He knew what kind of situation Huang Yao was in after Xing Xiao left. "I have overestimated you. You can't even finish Xing Xiao's basic work?" Chapter 324. Was it so easy to be the crown prince of Huang Yao? Grandpa Sheng's face was gloomy. In the end he could only agree. After all, he could not bring himself to look for Xing Xiao. Moreover, he was the one who wanted to replace Xing Xiao. Because he said that he did not believe that Huang Yao's operations would be a problem without Xing Xiao. Mama Sheng heard their conversation outside the door. She could not help but sneer. She wanted to see how long Sixth Brother could hold on. He would not shed a tear until he saw the coffin. During breakfast, Grandpa Xing said to everyone, "All of you know that the Sheng family has an unfilial son. To let Sixth Brother get started as soon as possible, all of you should cooperate with him and let him get used to Xing Zhao's original job as soon as possible." "Is there a problem?" "No problem." Mama Sheng spread her hands and replied. "Eldest aunt, it's impossible for you to help me sincerely," Sixth Brother said coldly to Mama Sheng. "I will help you 100% sincerely. Whether he is a mule or a horse we will know once we take him out for a walk." Mama Sheng got up from the dining table. "You all can eat. I am full." In fact, Grandpa Xing did not only let Sixth Brother take over Xing Zhao's position. He also found the best team in the country to help him negotiate the contract smoothly. But even so, Mama Xing did not care about Sixth Brother. There would be an important business deal coming from Germany soon. Xing Xiao had already arranged to meet them. But now that Sixth Brother was the person in charge, he would be the one to negotiate the deal. This time she wanted to let Grandpa Xing know that there were some things that not everyone could do. Which multinational company did not have strict checks and balances in their core departments? But all these years, Xing Xiao alone had replaced the entire department. Grandpa Xing also knew the importance of this cooperation. He told Sixth Brother to deal with it carefully. To not give the other party a chance to hang up on him, Sixth Brother did not tell them about the replacement of the person in charge. He still sent people to receive them. However, he didn't know how hateful his deceit was in the eyes of the other party. Mama Sheng told Xing Xiao about it. But Xing Xiao was fishing at the Shin family's house. He looked very relaxed. "If Huang Yao loses this deal, then in Germany the network that you've worked so hard to build will be ruined." "Whatever," Xing Xiao answered directly. "This also means that Huang Yao's sales for the second half of the year will shrink significantly. It's not my company. I don't care." "That's good too. Only by making the old man feel pain will he know what it means to admit defeat." Mama Sheng also supported her son. "You don't have too much fun. If the old man finds out, won't he get angry? Mom, you don't have to call me for anything in Huang Yao in the future. Just do as you see fit." "All right, Mom will let you have a good holiday. You must take good care of Chi-Chi." If he did not take care of her, who would? A day later, it was time for the meeting. Mama Sheng kept her promise and did her best to help Sixth Brother, helping him understand the project and letting him know how important it was to Huang Yao. Sixth Brother felt as if he was facing a great enemy, but he had no choice but to bite the bullet and fight. However, the man asked him directly, "Who are you?" "We're here to discuss this deal with Mr. Sheng." "I'm sorry. Because of some sudden matters, Xing Xiao is no longer in charge of the project. I will take over everything for the time being. Even so, I will still give you the best service." When the man heard that, he immediately closed his laptop. "Nothing if it's not Xing Xiao. How many people came here because of Xing Xiao's name? Sixth Brother might not know it. But, no buts. Nothing if you don't see Xing Xiao. What's wrong with Huang Yao? The contract was going well just now and you suddenly changed the person in charge? It's fine if you change the person in charge, but why didn't you inform us in advance? What right does an irresponsible company like you have to work with us?" The Germans valued integrity the most. Naturally, they felt uncomfortable when they saw Huang Yao behaving like this. "I think you are liars. Complete liars." How could Sixth Brother stand such provocation? Seeing that the man was so determined, he could only give up. "Then I can only express my deep regret." Both parties parted on bad terms. Sixth Brother did not even have the chance to look at the documents, let alone work together. Not only that, the man booked a return ticket that afternoon and called Huang Yao for the last time. "I really can't imagine any company doing worse than you. It's not like we haven't experienced the change of the person in charge when we were talking about a deal. But did Huang Yao find such a person to replace Xing Xiao? If that's the case, then Huang Yao's road is not far ahead." Even the employees of Huang Yao were discussing in private. "What's wrong with the chairman? It's not a big deal to replace the crown prince and the person in charge. But you have to find a suitable person to replace him. Just to show off his supreme position, he completely ignores the board of directors. He is really muddle-headed. Don't sixth young master and seventh young miss have the same parents? Aren't they all good for nothings? If this goes on, Huang Yao will be finished sooner or later. Since when did Huang Yao appoint people based on favoritism? The chairman doesn't respect the board of directors at all. On this day, everyone in Huangyao was boiling with anger. But they did not dare to say anything. When Grandpa Xing knew about this, he was so angry that he held his chest and sat in the study for a long time. Now he should know his position. Sheng Xiao was not begging to be the crown prince of Huangyao. He was not begging him to be his grandfather. Sheng Xiao was now in the Shin family. He fished and slept in every day. His days were so comfortable. He was the one who was anxious. After figuring out the relationship, Grandpa Sheng was even angrier. It meant that he still had to beg that bastard to come back. No, he would never beg Sheng Xiao. He had already boasted about it. No matter what, he could not let Sheng Xiao be too complacent. Mama Sheng knew that Grandpa Sheng had been in the study for a few hours. He must be struggling in his heart. But it did not matter. There was still a follow-up. As long as Grandpa Sheng did not admit defeat, Huangyao would suffer the most. If he liked the supreme position so much, then he should enjoy it to his heart's content. As for Mu Qiqi, she was very happy these 2 days. Xiao Xiao did not have to go to Huangyao. The two of them were almost stuck together. However, in her heart, she knew very well that this kind of life would not last long. Xiao Xiao still belonged to Huangyao. But it was definitely not the Huangyao where Grandpa Sheng could do whatever he wanted. Chapter 325. Sheng Xiao was the only genius in Huangyao for so many years. Grandpa Sheng knew that he was smart, so he wanted to make use of his intelligence and control his life. Before this, he did not have such a deep understanding of Sheng Xiao's importance. It was thanks to 6th brother replacing 8th brother that the old man could clearly see how much influence Sheng Xiao had over Huangyao. How could he not admit defeat? Of course he had to admit it. After all, he was old and Sheng Xiao still had a long way to go. After thinking for an entire night, Grandpa Sheng could only summon Mama Sheng to his study the next morning. Xiao Qin, let's not talk about anything else. Let's call 8th brother back to stabilize Huangyao. Mama Sheng snorted in her heart, but she did not show it in front of Grandpa Sheng. Father, you know Sheng Xiao's temper. If I ask him to come back, he will definitely not agree. You know what he wants. Could it be that he wants me, his grandfather, to apologize to him? The old man was very angry. There's no need for that. I think 6th brother is adapting very quickly in Huangyao. I believe it won't be long before he can replace 8th brother. Grandpa Sheng turned around and looked at Mama Sheng. He glared at her. You spoiled him since he was young. That's why he's so lawless. It's my fault for not teaching my son well. So, it's better not to let such an unfilial son come back to Huangyao. After saying that, Mama Sheng left Grandpa Sheng's study. Was she not wronged? She was the same. When Sheng Xiao was young, she didn't have the chance to discipline him at all because Grandpa Sheng took care of everything. Ever since Sheng Xiao could remember, he had been given all kinds of training in social skills. As his mother, how could she not feel sorry for him? And now the old man was blaming her for not teaching Sheng Xiao well. Grandpa Sheng was helpless. He could only let Papa Sheng do it. After all, he was that unfilial son's father. He would have to listen to him, wouldn't he? Sheng Xiao learned about the old man's thoughts from Mama Sheng early in the morning. Naturally, Sheng Xiao could tell that there was something wrong with his mother's voice. Are you angry at the old man? I've gotten used to it over the years. The old man wants you to come back, but he doesn't want to admit his mistake. You should stay at your father-in-law's house for a few more days. Sheng Xiao's eyes could not help sharpening. Did the old man think he could get over this easily? It probably wouldn't be that easy. After that, Sheng Xiao accompanied Mu Qiqi to the recovery room to help Xin Jianchuan with his training. When the doctor saw that Xin Jianchuan was recovering well, he could not help but smile. At this rate, you'll be able to get out of bed and walk in less than a year. For the sake of being able to walk, I will try my best. After that, the doctor left. At that time, Xin Jianchuan saw Sheng Xiao's expression. Although he tried his best to hide it, it was easy for a man to feel the dominance coming from him. What's wrong with the Sheng family now? The old man wants you to go back, right? It's not that easy, Sheng Xiao replied as he squatted down to pick up the tools on the ground. The old man is really something. When you talk about family, he talks about rules with you. When you talk about rules with him, he talks about blood ties with you. So, it's not impossible for me to return. But this time I want to state my conditions. What he had done for Huangyao and the Sheng family all these years was taken for granted by Grandpa Sheng, and treated as worthless. Since that's the case, let's talk about the deal. That was what Xin Jianchuan wanted to remind Sheng Xiao of. Still, the kid certainly did not need anyone's guidance. In fact, he knew better than anyone else. Trust me. There would be a day when you would walk out of Huangyao. Are you interested in doing something with your father-in-law? Of course you don't have to answer me now. For the sake of my daughter, I'll leave a way out for you. Xing Zhao's lips curled up at that. Little one, not only do you have the strongest man, you also have the best father. Ha! Mu Qiqi was not listening to their conversation at all. She was completely confused. Both men were trying to protect the woman they loved the most. In that very moment, there were only father and daughter, husband and wife in that space. That was why there was nothing stronger than the power of love. That afternoon, Papa Xing personally came to the Xin family. Grandpa Xin had given his study to the father and son, and was fishing with Xin Jianchuan at the pond. Papa Xing could not help taking a deep breath when he saw his unfilial son, trying his best to hold back his anger. You've had enough of throwing a tantrum. It's time to go home. Why are you hiding here? This is my father-in-law's house. Huangyao is in a mess because of Sixth brother. Are you just going to sit back and do nothing? It's only right for your grandfather to care about you. Enough with the nonsense. Pack your things and go home. You really want me to go home? Xing Zhao's lips curled into a mysterious smile. And a welcoming ceremony for you? Xing Xiao watched his father's back, and only answered him when he was almost out of the study. I want the position of the CEO of Huangyao and 10% of the shares. Otherwise you guys can go play yourselves. Papa Xing was shocked at that, and left the Xin's house without looking back. Was that bastard coveting his own father's position now? Even so, he would not admit that the reason he could sit in that position was because of his son, Xing Xiao. Fuming, Papa Xing promptly left the Xin's house. When he returned to Huangyao, he told the old man the truth about his meeting with Xing Xiao today. That unfilial son wants my position and 10% of Huangyao's shares. Is that something he should covet? When the old man heard that and realized that Xing Xiao was bargaining with him, he clutched his chest in anger and coughed violently. Father, are you all right? He is blaming me for replacing him after using him. That's why he wants to increase his cost. You won't agree to it, will you? Papa Xing was a little worried. Although Xing Xiao was his son, he still had to make him give up the position of CEO. Be serious? The old man did not answer Papa Xing. Instead, he was filled with regret and heartache. Why would he take the risk if he knew this would happen? All Xing Xiao wanted was for him to acknowledge Mu Qiqi. Now he wanted Xing Xiao back. Not only did he have to acknowledge Mu Qiqi, but he also had to give up the position of CEO and 10% of Huangyao's shares. Who was the loser here? Was there even a need to settle the score? Father, what should I do if you let him be CEO? Do whatever you want. The old man had suffered a double loss. He was already angry enough. How could he be in the mood to arrange Papa Xing's future? Now, all he wanted was for Mama Xing to ask that unfilial son if there was room for negotiation. 10% of Huangyao's shares was no laughing matter. That unfilial son. He's taking advantage of the situation. But who started the fire? It was not Xing Xiao himself. There were some things that should be treated sincerely when it was time to talk about feelings. Even so, some people would unconsciously believe that they were emperors. Chapter 326. Sixth brother was dumbfounded when he heard about it, because he did not expect Xing Xiao to be so greedy. So he went to Mama Xing. Eldest aunt, isn't it too much for Xing Xiao to do this? We are a family. Isn't it too much for him to ask for power? When Mama Xing heard that, she turned to sixth brother, her eyes sharp and cold. First of all, when eighth brother worked so hard for Huangyao, did he ever care about positions and shares? Sixth brother did not say anything. Xing Xiao has worked so hard for Huangyao all these years. What happened? Your grandfather fired him just because he said so. Do you think Xing Xiao is a dog? How much has Xing Xiao contributed to Huangyao all these years? Is it too much to ask for the position of CEO and 10% of shares? You don't have to give it to him. You can negotiate the contract yourself. You don't have to be in a dilemma. Mama Xing said sternly. You and your sister, seventh sister, have you contributed anything to Huangyao all these years? How dare you say that I'm too much? Don't beg him if you are so capable. Mama Xing smashed the glass in her hand. It was the first time she was so angry. Sixth brother did not say anything else when he saw that. Blushing, he slipped away from Mama Xing's sight. Why did he cause trouble for her? Did he not know who he was? This time Mama Xing did not help her husband. It was what her son deserved. She did not think that Xing Xiao was too much. All in all, the Xing family was in a mess because of Xing Zhao's demand for shares. But the Xin family was still calm. Xing Xiao accompanied Mu Qiqi for an afternoon nap. In the afternoon, they drove to the small villa to visit Su Zipei. Grandpa Shin had completely angered Xing Xiao this time. How could there be such a good thing in this world? He wanted to use him, but he did not respect him. The world was big and there were many places that respected him. He did not have to stay in Huangyao. In the afternoon, Xing Xiao brought Muqiqi back to the small villa. Su Zipei was in a good mood when she saw Muqiqi. "And how are you? It's rare for both of you to visit me. Young Master Sheng, aren't you busy?" Su Zipei rarely saw Xing Xiao in the afternoon. It seemed that Lu Wenhua did not tell her about Xing Xiao leaving Huangyao. "Xiao Xiao is on leave today to accompany me," Muqiqi hurriedly explained. "Aunt, I really miss you. Is the baby in my tummy behaving well?" Su Zipei nodded and held Muqiqi's hand. "Your uncle asked the nutritionist to take care of me recently. You have no idea how healthy I am now." "That's good." Muqiqi could not help but caress Su Zipei's bulging belly. "I don't know if you are a younger brother or sister. You must be obedient in your mother's belly. When you get married, the child should be able to walk and run. It'll be very fast." Marriage? There was no telling when she could truly become Xiao Xiao's wife. She could do nothing to help the Sheng family now, and could only try her best to keep quiet so that she would not be a burden to Xiao Xiao. That night, the two of them stayed over at the small villa. After dinner, Xing Xiao held Muqiqi in his arms and enjoyed the night view in the garden of the little mansion. "When I had a crush on you, I would get nervous whenever I heard the sound of a car downstairs. You are such a bad girl. You know how to like men at such a young age." Muqiqi turned around and glared at Xing Xiao. "But you still like a 17-year-old girl. You are an old cow who eats young grass. That's a rough word. As expected of a science student." Muqiqi laughed. After a while she sighed. "It's still so far away to register for marriage." Xing Xiao did not say anything. When Muqiqi was about to fall asleep, he whispered in her ear, "Actually, I have long regarded you as my wife in my heart." Muqiqi smiled sweetly. Actually, that was enough. That night, the Sheng family held a family meeting. Although everyone was not convinced, Grandpa Sheng could only agree to Xing Xiao's condition. Of course, Papa Sheng would not agree to it. "Father, is this fair to me? You go to the overseas market," Grandpa Sheng ordered. Papa Sheng was not convinced. He turned to look at Mama Sheng. "Why don't you help your husband? That bastard is still young. How can he provoke the CEO?" "I think you are the one who can't provoke the CEO," Mama Sheng said directly to her husband. "You're my wife. You should be on my side." "I'm sorry. This time I am on my son's side." With that, Mama Sheng left the table. Because she had never seen a husband who would fight with his son without caring about his feelings. Papa Sheng's face turned red. He almost smashed the table with his fist. Did he marry a woman to harm him? But since it was Grandpa Sheng's decision, he had no room to resist. Since his wife was not on his side, he might as well leave the house. He just hoped that his wife and son would not regret it when the time came. After the meeting, Xing Xiao would basically get what he wanted. So, the next day Grandpa Sheng drove his car to the little mansion. When Muqiqi saw Grandpa Sheng's car, she knew very well that this leisurely life was coming to an end. After a while, Grandpa Sheng got out of the car and said to Xing Xiao and Muqiqi, "Are you done?" Xing Xiao and Muqiqi said goodbye to Su Zipei and got into Grandpa Sheng's car. Then, Grandpa Sheng gave Xing Xiao the share transfer certificate and the CEO's letter of appointment. "These are the things you want. But Xing Xiao, you don't really care about this little girl. I thought you would threaten me to write some kind of guarantee that I will acknowledge Muqiqi." Grandpa Sheng deliberately tried to sow discord between them. But Xing Xiao did not panic. He said, "You will cheat no matter what agreement I have with you. So, I might as well hold your lifeline in my hands. If you do something to cheat, the 10% of Huangyao shares in my hands will be in the hands of my enemy." Grandpa Sheng's face turned red when he heard that. Xing Xiao was indeed Xing Xiao. He was really good at calculating. It was useless to know that any guarantee was useless. So, getting the shares of Huangyao was the best insurance. "Since you have achieved your goal, get back to Huangyao. I will send Muqiqi back to Jingting." "No," Xing Xiao answered crisply. "I believe no one but you. Get out of the car." Grandpa Sheng did not care about them anymore. No matter what, Grandpa Sheng was bleeding a lot this time. But to everyone in Huangyao, they were naturally happy that Xing Xiao was back. It meant that Huangyao's business would not go wrong again. Chapter 327. Xing Xiao personally escorted Muqiqi back to Jingting before driving back to Huangyao. On the way there, Jing Yun told Xing Xiao about the general situation of Huangyao. Xing Xiao promptly told Jing Yun, bring up the most urgent matters first. We'll deal with them in the afternoon. Young master, you have to pay attention to the relationship between Madam and Chief Sheng. They seem to be at odds because of you. Jing Yun reminded Xing Xiao. Got it. It was precisely because he knew that the first thing Xing Xiao did when he entered the company was to visit his mother. Mom, I knew you'd come back soon. Mama Sheng smiled. You're the CEO of Huang Yao now. Dad, don't mind him. Mama Sheng said stiffly. I'm just disappointed in him. That means he still has feelings. Mama Sheng said nothing, but Xing Xiao got the key point. That was why he gave his father a call after he left Mama Sheng's office. Papa Sheng had booked a plane ticket for the evening, but he was not in a hurry after he received Xing Xiao's call. Because Xing Xiao was right. Huang Yao's reputation in the country was enough now, and the most important thing now was to expand their business overseas. It was precisely because Huang Yao's headquarters had matured that the Sheng family would want a piece of the pie. Papa Sheng would not be able to handle it alone, and it was better to leave it to him. Papa Sheng would go overseas to nurture new forces, and they would have the final say in Huang Yao from now on. Papa Sheng thought that it made sense and knew very well where his ability lay. Surely it was better to let his son take over than to be forced to leave it to his brothers, was it not? That was why Papa Sheng readily agreed to Xing Xiao's suggestion. You weren't interested in the position before. What happened now? Nothing. It's just fun. To put it bluntly, Grandpa Sheng had tricked him, and he knew that having real power was the best way to protect Qi. If that was the case, why wouldn't he want it? Even so, he kept the answer in his heart. Everyone in Huang Yao was instantly energized when they saw Xing Xiao in the office, and the departments were no longer lifeless. Although sixth brother would not admit it, ability trumps everything in Huang Yao. The first thing Xing Xiao did when he returned to his office was to deal with the urgent cooperation. The steps that sixth brother could not take, the words that he could not say, and the negotiating skills that he could not use were all displayed before sixth brother one by one. Sixth brother admitted defeat and left Huang Yao dejectedly. Not only did he fail to find his sister, he even made Grandpa Xing give him 10% of the shares. What a heavy loss. When the old man saw that Xing Xiao had successfully redeemed several important collaborations in the first afternoon after his return to Huang Yao, he was a little comforted despite his reluctance. Still, Mu Qiqi's matter remained a thorn in his heart. Late at night, Jing Yun was held up by Huang Yao's matters and could not fetch Xing Minglan from work. Knowing that Xing Xiao had returned to Huang Yao, she did not call him and stayed in the office. Seeing that Xing Minglan had no intention of getting off work, the new assistant knocked on the door and entered. Chief Sheng, I think I should take a few days off next month. What's the matter? I'm getting married, the assistant said. I've been dating my girlfriend for 8 years. So, we're planning to start a family. Then, I wish you all the best. You should hurry up too. Xing Minglan blushed and nodded. Soon, Jing Yun arrived at Xing Minglan's office, but it was already dark outside. Sorry I'm late. Let's go for dinner now. Jing Yun, let's go to my house tonight. Xing Minglan suggested awkwardly. Although we're together now, I keep feeling that you don't spend as much time alone with me as you used to avoid suspicion. Are you afraid? Jing Yun's expression was a little unreadable. After a while he answered, I'm afraid. I can't control myself. Xing Minglan understood what he meant and blushed even more. We're partners. Let nature take its course. Why do you have to control yourself? Jing Yun said nothing. They had a tacit understanding. Soon they arrived at Xing Minglan's house. Xing Minglan took out the slippers she had prepared and put them in front of Jing Yun. These are for you. Jing Yun changed into the slippers and Xing Minglan put on her apron. I'm going to cook. You can rest for a while. I'll help you. Jing Yun took off his jacket and rolled up his sleeves. Then they entered the kitchen together. The atmosphere was very warm. They were like partners who had been together for a long time. They cooperated very well. But when he saw Xing Minglan's back, Jing Yun couldn't help but hug her. Xing Minglan was stunned for a moment. Then she smiled. So, you can't control yourself? Yeah. Jing Yun grunted and put his chin on Xing Minglan's shoulder. My new assistant came to ask for leave today. He's getting married soon. Xing Minglan smiled. So, I suddenly want to get married too. Jing Yun's body froze just like that. Did I scare you? Of course, you shouldn't be willing to marry me yet. However, if we wait for the right time, I don't know how many years it will take. So, for a moment I thought, why don't we register our marriage secretly? Even if Grandpa wants to stop us, he can't do anything about it. I don't want you to suffer like this. Jing Yun replied. And I don't want you to be so sneaky. Jing Yun, have you ever thought about looking for your family? Jing Yun shook his head. His memories were only fragments before Xing Minglan brought him back to the Xing family. Why don't I help you look for them? Jing Yun said nothing. He simply hugged Xing Minglan. After they had dinner, Xing Minglan did not let him leave. I'll move here. This time Jing Yun was completely dumbfounded. Xing Minglan couldn't help asking him, you don't want to? I just think it's a little fast. You've liked me for more than 10 years. That's already slow enough for us. How much more time do we have to waste? I want to be with you now. Not just the time after work. I want to occupy your evenings too. How could Jing Yun refuse such a proposal from his lover? I like to be clean. I'm not sloppy. I'll be a good roommate. Jing Yun said after a long while. In fact, he felt very guilty. He wouldn't complain even if he was sent to hell in the future. Chapter 328. Since Mu Qiqi was a thorn in Grandpa Sheng's heart, all he could think of now was to remove the thorn at the tip of his heart, regardless of the cost. Although he could not do anything to Mu Qiqi at the moment, he still had a chance. Huang Yao was bound to be in Xing Zhao's hands in the future, but Mu Qiqi could not give him anything. How could she have the ability to manage the entire Xing family? Still, the old man had learned his lesson and did not trouble Mu Qiqi directly. He simply sent someone to search for girls in the country who had amazing background and power, and were of a similar age to Mu Qiqi. When the time came, he could use everything the Xing family had to make a deal with Xing Xiao. If Xing Xiao wanted to take over Huang Yao and become the real ruler of the Xing family, he must marry the girl he fancied. Otherwise, he would not get a single cent of his inheritance, and he would even chase Xing Xiao out of the family. Of course, that was his final trump card. He believed that he bore the weight of Huang Yao's rise and fall, and that he had the responsibility to find a qualified backer for Huang Yao. Under that premise, romance was just child's play, and was there any practical use in the end? Not really. That was why he would risk his life to stop Mu Qiqi from entering the family, even if it meant falling out with the Xin family. After Xing Xiao returned to Huang Yao, Mu Qiqi was planning to apply to go with her tutor to observe and learn from the autopsy site. However, her tutor usually arranged fifth-year interns, and there was almost no place for someone like her who was only in her first year. Perhaps out of respect for the little bride of the Xing family, her tutor finally relented and allowed Mu Qiqi to go with the criminal investigation team, thinking that a young lady from a rich family like her would calm down after seeing such a scene once. Mu Qiqi received a call from Lin Mu, and when she got the spot. It's Little Pepper's birthday tomorrow. I'm planning to hold a private party for her. You and the crown prince are coming, right? Why? Do you want to surprise her? Mu Qiqi asked in return. Sort of. Just tell me the time and address. Mu Qiqi raised a brow. Chan was such a careless girl that she had probably forgotten when her birthday was. That won't do. You're still responsible for bringing her here tomorrow. This Lin Mu, and was really not polite at all. All right, I promise to complete the task tomorrow. In fact, Chan only had these two friends. It was rare that Lin Mu and would still care for Chan. At least, he was more considerate than her best friend. He just didn't know if Lin Mu and was Chan's confidant, or did he have some other status. But when she thought about it, she suddenly felt that the Lin family was an obstacle that she could not cross. So, she was very worried about Chan's situation. That night, Xing Minglan had already tidied up half of her room so that she could put Jing Yun's luggage. However, when she opened the door to welcome him, she found that he was carrying a simple suitcase everywhere he went, and he even had the gift she gave him with him. Xing Minglan could not help but feel sorry for him. Other people would look for a moving company when they move. Who's like you? You only have a few pieces of luggage. I don't have many important things. I only brought some clothes. That's all I have. Jing Yun explained. You can come in so easily, but it seems that you can leave just as easily. Jing Yun was taken aback by Xing Minglan's insecure words. Then he pointed at the door and said, Should I move all the furniture in the apartment here? Xing Minglan smiled at that. You don't care about those. Come in first. Jing Yun was actually very nervous. He had no idea what a man and woman living together should do, and whether they should sleep together. Although he had liked Xing Minglan for years, he never thought that his dream would come true. So, it was his first time experiencing such things and he could not help feeling a little nervous. Go and put your luggage in the bedroom. Miss Minglan? I'm not Miss Minglan. Minglan. Jing Yun shouted. I'm, also, what's the point of you moving in if you don't want to stay in the same room with me? Xing Minglan said with her back facing Jing Yun. Actually, her face was already blushing. Jing Yun had never experienced anything between a man and a woman, so he was a little passive. He carried his luggage into the bedroom and slowly placed his clothes in the wardrobe. His mind went blank when he saw the big bed. It seemed that he was not prepared at all. Soon they had dinner together. Jing Yun went to the kitchen to clean the dishes, while Xing Minglan went to the bedroom to take a shower first. Because she knew that Jing Yun's blockhead would be embarrassed. When Jing Yun was done, Xing Minglan was also done with her shower. She sat in the bedroom and dried her hair. When Jing Yun entered the bedroom, she turned around and smiled at him. Take a shower. I'm going to the study to take care of some work. Okay. Jing Yun relaxed a lot. But when he changed into his pajamas and walked out of the bathroom, Xing Minglan was already sitting on the bed. Do you have any activities before bed? If not, we are going to rest. Jing Yun shook his head. His whole body was tense, but he still walked to the bed and sat on the other side of Xing Minglan. Seeing that, Xing Minglan turned off the lamp and lay down. Jing Yun lay down too, but he did not move. In the dark, Xing Minglan could not help but laugh. Am I going to eat you? Why are you so nervous? I'm just not used to it. Xing Minglan slowly leaned on Jing Yun's shoulder and smiled. Are you feeling better now? Jing Yun tilted his head and smelled the fragrance coming from Xing Minglan's body. Xing Minglan conveniently lay on Jing Yun's chest, but Jing Yun's heart was beating wildly. Still, he was enlightened and reached out to hold Xing Minglan's waist. Xing Minglan was satisfied and closed her eyes. Because Jing Yun was beside her, she felt that she had slept very soundly that night. But it was tough for blockhead Jing. He did not dare to move when Xing Minglan was lying on him. So he just let his arm go numb. It was such a sweet burden. The next morning, Jing Yun woke up with Xing Minglan in his arms naturally. Their bodies were pressed tightly against each other. He could feel his whole body heating up, and a certain part of him was reacting even more obviously. Xing Minglan might have felt the abnormality in his body temperature. So she opened her eyes and looked at Jing Yun. Chapter 329. Minglan, let's get up. We're going to be late for work. But you. Xing Minglan was no longer an innocent little girl. How could she not know that it was a normal reaction from a man? It's fine. I'll take a cold shower. Jing Yun said very calmly. Xing Minglan nodded and got up from the bed. But before she could, she was caught by the blanket and fell back into Jing Yun's arms. Hugging Xing Minglan, Jing Yun's hands touched her fair body. In that instant, all reason in his mind was gone. Xing Minglan wanted to get up, but Jing Yun held her tightly. Don't get up. Jing Yun's kiss was completely random. Xing Minglan did not know what to do, but she soon indulged in it and responded to Jing Yun in her own way. Both of them were only wearing pajamas. Soon they met each other openly. Clearly it was their first time. That was why they were relying on their instincts. Jing Yun was very concerned about Xing Minglan's feelings. In his limited knowledge, he only knew that when doing such things, he must make a woman happy and not hurt her. That was why even though his kiss was wild, his touch was very gentle. After all, this was the person he cared about the most, and he was doing the most beautiful thing in the world with her. Minglan, are you uncomfortable? Xing Minglan shook her head. Her body naturally relaxed and enjoyed it. Sensing that Xing Minglan was ready, Jing Yun cupped her cheeks and asked her very seriously, Are you sure you want to do this? You can still stop now. Xing Minglan shook her head again, and looked at Jing Yun with a hint of longing. Jing Yun could not care about anything else. It was their first time. Both of them were in pain, but Xing Minglan hugged Jing Yun tightly, tears trickling out of the corner of her eyes. Because in that very moment she felt a strong sense of belonging. At least she had a lover now. Why are you crying? Jing Yun moved slowly and gently wiped away Xing Minglan's tears. Did I hurt you? No. I'm crying tears of joy. I'm very happy. We are together because we love each other. Xing Minglan had been oppressed by the Xing family for years. She never dared to imagine that she could live with and hug the person she loved the most for a few days. This felt like a very surreal dream. At that, Jing Yun kissed her softly again. I will cherish you whether it's in the past or now. The two of them reached the clouds and hugged each other tightly. That was why Jing Yun skipped work for the first time in the morning and did not appear beside Xing Xiao at Huang Yao. Xing Xiao raised a brow and called Jing Yun, but it was Xing Minglan who answered. It's brother. Xing Xiao checked the time and couldn't help asking, You're still together at this hour? Jing Yun won't be working today. Xing Xiao seemed to have guessed something after hearing that, and his lips curled into a mocking smile. That blockhead Jing Yun? Could he really do that? For so many years he had been a vegetarian monk. If you don't go to work, I'll deduct double your wages. Sheng Minglan ignored him because Jing Yun was in the bathroom filling the bathwater for her. Come to think of it, Mu Chichi had promised Lin Mu, and that she would bring Lu Chanshan to the place where she would sleep. That was why she had called Lu Chanshan early in the morning and arranged for them to meet in the afternoon. Lu Chanshan was undergoing all sorts of training every day, and was destined to walk the path of a strong woman. Still, she could refuse anyone's date, but she would never refuse Mu Chichi's invitation. They agreed to meet at the hotel at 6 in the evening. By then Lin Mu had already set up the venue and was waiting for a surprise for little Pepper. Still, Lin Mu would never have imagined that his former blind date would run into his busy figure in the hotel. Lin Mu appeared to be a romantic, but he was very distant when he met his blind date. She had never seen Lin Mu being so attentive to any girl. That was why the girl did not leave the hotel, and instead decided to stay and watch the show. At 6 in the evening, Mu Chichi and Lu Chanshan met at the hotel. Why did you take so long to ask me out? I'm almost going crazy because of the teachers my father hired. Let's go. I'll treat you to a feast tonight. Mu Chichi brought Lu Chanshan to the birthday party, and saw that it was decorated with a childlike and warm atmosphere, just like a fairy tale forest. Whose child's birthday is it today? What do you think? Mu Chichi asked in return. That was when music started playing in the birthday party hall. Meanwhile, a man disguised as Mickey Mouse pushed a 3-tiered cake towards Lu Chanshan. I forgot. Lu Chanshan was surprised and touched. Chichi, you're so good to me. Since it's your birthday, Mickey Mouse, dance for the birthday girl. Mu Chichi knew that Mickey Mouse was Lin Mu, and so she played a trick on him. Mickey Mouse did not refuse, and walked to the center of the stage in his thick puppet costume. That was when the dancers jumped out from behind the curtains. So, he really did have a performance prepared. No one has celebrated my birthday except for that scumbag. Lu Chanshan suddenly burst into tears. Soon, other cartoon dolls entered the hall one after another, surrounding Lu Chanshan. Lu Chanshan looked at Mu Chichi really touched. But Mu Chichi pointed at Mickey Mouse with her chin and said to Lu Chanshan, "Go and take off his puppet head. Let's see who he is." Lu Chanshan looked at the bouncing Mickey Mouse on the stage, and walked straight to him, taking off his big head. She saw Lin Mu, and inside, sweating profusely. Surprise. Lu Chanshan looked at Lin Mu, and although her words were still unforgiving, her eyes turned red. You're a young master of the Lin family, and yet you're doing such a thing. Aren't you stupid? Little Chili, be reasonable. Living in this world is all about enjoying life. Look at you, it's so easy to be abducted by others. I've only done this for you and you're already moved to tears and snot. Lin Mu smiled at Lu Chanshan while wiping his sweat. We've known each other for so long. I should give you a proper present. You're so stupid. I don't even want to remember my birthday. Is it because of that scumbag? Lin Mu guessed. Is it necessary? You can even forget your gift day for a scumbag. You're so cruel to yourself. Chapter 330. Lu Chanshan opened the box and saw a delicate dolphin necklace inside. You are so loyal to be my friend. Lu Chanshan punched Lin Mu's chest. Mu Chichi looked at them from below the stage. She could feel the ambiguous atmosphere even from afar. Only the two people on the stage were still pretending to call each other brothers. Soon Xing Zhao's car drove into the hotel. But when he saw the extravagant costumes in the birthday hall, he pulled Mu Chichi out. Childish. I think it's childish too. But it's Lin Mu who prepared it. It's very thoughtful. Xing Zhao reluctantly entered the childish hall and sat down on the lace sofa. Mu Chichi held his hand and comforted him gently. In fact, Xing Zhao knew very well that Lin Mu was moved. That was why he prepared all these for Lu Chanshan. Otherwise, why would he spend so much effort? Does that idiot have some misunderstanding about being 20 years old? Are you sure it's not after June 1st? Mu Chichi could not stand Xing Zhao's ridicule. She sat down and laughed. But what did it matter? It was fine as long as Chanshan was happy. Soon, a picture of Lu Chanshan when she was 5 or 6 years old appeared on the curtain of the banquet hall. The little girl had a braid and looked very cute. Lu Chanshan was shocked. She quickly punched Lin Mu. Where did you get this? I've never seen it before. I asked your teacher for it. Lin Mu replied. Didn't you start liking that scum from that time? That's why I'm celebrating your birthday today so that you can keep your eyes open in the future. Lu Chanshan looked at her picture. She suddenly remembered her ridiculous life for more than 10 years. Thank you for reminding me. I've been stupid for so many years. It's okay. You're a little stupid and blind, but you're not hopeless. I'll try to save you. Lu Chanshan threw a punch at Lin Muan. Do you really think I'm praising you? Don't find a man who's good to you in the future. Don't be silly and stick to him. Men are cheap. Lu Chanshan listened quietly and did not answer. She didn't know why, but her mind suddenly replayed the scene of Lin Mu, and sweating for her. Seeing that you still have some humanity left in you, I won't attack you personally in the future. You know how good I am. Lin Muan smiled. Mu Qiqi suddenly felt that they shouldn't stay inside. Xiao Xiao, why don't we go home? You also know that you are the third wheel? Sheng Xiao looked at Mu Qiqi condescendingly and left quietly with her. Those two did not need an audience at all. They could just make up and direct themselves for the whole night, alright? Of course, no one realized that there were outsiders watching this private party. She was shocked to see Lin Mu and Lu Chanshan being so close. When he got home, he told his parents about it. Come to think of it, Lu Chanshan was just a broken shoe in everyone's eyes. But Lin Mu would rather be with that broken shoe than other innocent young ladies. Would those young ladies be convinced? The other party's parents also called Old Master Lin. Grandpa Lin's face darkened when he heard that. He called his assistant. Go and find out where young master is now. Lin Mu and Lu Chanshan did not notice that Mu Qiqi and Xing Xiao had left. That was how they usually got along. They would talk and drink merrily in the name of good brothers. It was only when they were almost drunk that Lu Chanshan staggered and realized that Mu Qiqi and Xing Xiao were not there. Where's Qiqi? Lin Mu held her and laughed. She left a long time ago. You didn't believe me when I told you that you were blind. I had a good time tonight, Lin Mu. The two were drunk in the birthday hall. But they did not know that Grandpa Lin had quietly arrived at the hotel and had someone splash them with ice water to wake them up. Lin Mu opened his eyes and was about to curse when he found his grandfather in front of him. Lu Chanshan had also sobered up beside him. I was wondering where you were fooling around for the whole day. So I didn't wrong you. Grandpa, you don't have the right to talk to me now. Miss Lu, is it convenient for us to talk? Grandpa Lin turned his sharp gaze on Lu Chanshan. Lu Chanshan wiped the ice water off her face and nodded solemnly. But Lin Mu stopped her. Grandpa, I was the one who found her. This has nothing to do with little Pepper. Don't touch her. I just want to talk to her. Why are you so nervous? Of course he was nervous because he knew how vicious his grandfather's words could be. If Lu Chanshan really listened to him, she would never talk to him again. Grandpa, it's Chanshan's birthday today. I'm just celebrating her birthday as a friend. There's nothing else between us. As a friend? Grandpa Lin snorted coldly. I always thought that you are a child who knows what to do and won't let others worry about you. But after seeing what happened tonight, I know that everything you usually show is just an illusion. It's fine if you don't let me talk to Miss Lu alone. I'll just say what I want to say here. No. Lin Mu still wanted to protect Lu Chanshan's pride. Grandpa Lin snorted and brought Lu Chanshan to another hall. Lin Mu sat on the floor, suddenly feeling very guilty. It was not easy for him to open up a little of Lu Chanshan's heart and let her face life again. But with Grandpa Lin's interference, she might get into a dead end again. In the space without Lin Mu Lu Chanshan lowered her head in front of Grandpa Lin. When Grandpa Lin saw that, he could not help asking Lu Chanshan, Mu told me before that I should not judge a person by his appearance, and should not use one mistake to judge a person's character. So, Miss Lu, tell me what kind of family education would allow a girl like you to get drunk with a man in a hotel? Lu Chanshan's throat was a little choked. She did not say anything. You should be aware of your and Mu status. People like you, your every action is being watched by others. Why can't you be friends openly? Do you really not understand? I don't care if you like Mu or not. But let me tell you one thing. I will never accept my granddaughter-in-law being dirty. You have a bad reputation now. Do you know how much it affects Mu? Chapter 331. Who let you in? Old Lin looked at Lin Mu coldly and asked. Miss Lu, I haven't done anything to your grandson yet. She doesn't want to be your granddaughter-in-law at all. Lin Mu pushed Lu Chanshan and refuted Old Lin. Go. Lin Mu if you don't want to hear worse words, don't leave this place now. I'm sorry today. Lin Mu said to Lu Chanshan with a pained expression. Lu Qianqian glanced at Lin Mu and then at old Lin. She nodded. Then I'll go first. Okay. You can go. But tomorrow I will go to your parents myself and let them know how to discipline their daughter. Don't lead other people's children astray. Lu Qianqian endured the unfair treatment and turned to leave. Because she knew that Lin Mu and would be in more trouble if she stayed. But Lu Qianqian did not return home. Instead she drove to Jingting. Chichi? Mu Chichi was frightened when she saw Lu Qianqian's face full of tears. Did Lin Mu and bully you? Lu Qianqian shook her head while crying. No. Although Mu Chichi was anxious, she had to wait for Lu Qianqian to stop crying. On the other hand, old Lin hit his grandson's back with a stool. What did I teach you? You can offend anyone. Do you still remember who you are and what kind of status do you have to provoke those shady people with bad reputations? Lin Mu and endured the old man's scolding. He was angry and wronged. From now on, will you still see that ill-mannered woman? I told you that Lu Qianqian and I are just friends. And Grandpa, you really let me see the most despicable side of a man. You are not talking to Qianqian as an elder. You are just bullying the weak. You are insulting and attacking a 20-year-old child. How superior do you think you are? In my heart, you are just shameless and stubborn. You value men more than women. You ignore human rights and have no basic respect for women. You can restrict me from making friends, and you can hurt Qianqian so that we can no longer contact each other. But in my heart, my respect for you has collapsed from this moment onwards. You are only in your 20s? Do you know what life is? Even if I don't know anything, I don't need you to teach me. Since I was born, I have the right to freedom. Lin Mu and retorted coldly. Don't talk so much. When we go back, I want you to go on a blind date and get engaged. Don't forget what kind of status you have used to run amok all these years. When I published my first book, no one knew that I was from the Lin family. After saying this, Lin Mu and stood up. When I get back, I'll immediately change to a pen name that no one will know. I won't use Lin Mu An's identity in public anymore. I'll return everything to you in the Lin family. After saying this, Lin Mu and took off his clothes from head to toe and threw them in front of the old man. I beg you, please let me go. The old man's throat was burning and he couldn't say anything. Only his hands were left, trembling non-stop. You said it yourself. If you insist on getting along with that girl from the Lu family, you don't have to return to the Lin family anymore. I'll pretend that I don't have you as my grandson, and you can forget about getting any benefits from the Lin family. I'm only 21 years old. I don't want my life to be arranged by you and regret it for the rest of my life. After saying that, Lin Mu and walked out of the hotel naked. What was there to be a son of a rich family and a young master of a government? Jingting. Late at night, Lu Qianqian finally stopped crying. She told Mu Chichi, I don't know who told us, but Lin Mu An's grandfather came. We were drunk and he caught us red-handed. Then Lin Mu An's grandfather came to talk to me. Lin Mu and pushed me away to protect me. So, I don't know what's going on with him now. After saying that, Lu Qianqian buried her face in her palms. Lin Mu An's grandfather even said that he's going to look for my parents. After hearing that, Mu Chichi held Lu Qianqian's hand. Fortunately, that bastard Lin Mu and didn't let you suffer too much. But I'm worried about Lin Mu An. Lu Qianqian looked up with tears in her eyes. My parents are used to it. It can't be helped that they have such a useless daughter. But this time Lin Mu and is going to be taught a lesson by his grandfather. He is the grandson of the Lin family. You don't have to worry too much. Soon Mu Chichi received a call from Lin Mu An. Is Qianqian at your house? Where are you? I'm at your door. But I'm not wearing any clothes. Can I trouble the crown prince to give me some old clothes? Although Mu Chichi didn't know what was going on, she still took a set of clothes that Xing Xiao rarely wore and asked him to give it to him. Xing Xiao chuckled when he saw Qianqian naked. Did you get robbed? I fell out with my family. Lin Mu and said helplessly. Is Qianqian at your house? Is Jingting a place for clandestine love affairs? Xing Xiao was a little displeased. Soon they entered Jingting together. It was only then that Lu Qianqian saw Lin Mu and standing behind Xing Xiao. His figure was different from Xing Xiao's. So, it was a little strange for him to be wearing the clothes. Lin Mu and, Qianqian, why are you still crying? Xing Xiao grabbed Mu Chichi's hand when he saw her. Let's go upstairs. There's nothing for us to do here. Mu Chichi smiled and followed Xing Xiao obediently. I didn't know that Lin Mu and had such courage. Do you think you're leaving the family just by taking off your clothes and showing your attitude? It's not that easy. Muchichi nodded at that. The elders of the big families usually had many tricks up their sleeves. They relied on their blood relationship to control and coerce others. Lin Mu and had yet to see how powerful those tricks were. I hope he can stay strong until the end. Downstairs, Lin Mu and held Lu Qianshan's hand and apologized profusely. It's my fault. It's all my fault. I made you suffer. Your grandfather is your grandfather and you are you. I can still tell. But how are you going to stay with the Lin family after all? Lu Qianshan told him. Don't worry about me. I'm your grandfather after all. I'll be fine after being angry for a few days. Lin Mu and did not tell Lu Qianshan that he had left the Lin family. I'll send you home. It's late now. You can't stay in Jingting. Then where are you going? Lu Qianshan asked Lin Mu. I'll sleep in the studio. Grandpa might go after your parents tomorrow. Don't worry. My parents won't be bullied so easily. Chapter 332. Since Lin Mu and was serious, old Lin was certainly not joking. It was not impossible for Lin Mu and to leave the Lin family. Early the next morning, old Lin told everyone in the Lin family that Lin Mu and no longer wanted to live as a young master of the Lin family. That was why he was no longer a young master of the Lin family, and the public would no longer have to give him face. In short, the Lin family no longer recognized him. Of course, even if the Lin family expressed their attitude towards Lin Mu, and they would not leave out the Lu family. Old Lin personally went to Lu Holdings and requested to meet Papa Lu. Papa Lu did not know why old Lin came because he did not interfere with his daughter's friendships. Still, he was wary when he saw the Lin family's aggressive attitude. May I know what business you have with me, Boss Lin? Papa Lu did not remember having much of a relationship with the Lin family. I'm here today because of your daughter and my grandson. Old Master Lin opened the door and said to Papa Lu, since you're both smart people, I'll be straightforward. Your daughter's current condition makes it unsuitable for her to be with someone else's young master. I'll discipline my grandson, but I'll have to trouble you to discipline your own daughter as well. What do you mean, Elder Lin? Papa Lu's face darkened. It seems that you don't know about it. Last night it was your daughter's birthday, and the two of them got drunk in the hotel lobby. Papa Lu asked old Lin in return, since it was not a room there must have been someone else there. It's not like they were alone, is it? I don't know if they were alone, but I do know that it was ugly. My grandson is innocent, and he still has to face others in the future. At that, Papa Lu finally understood why the old man came to Lu Holdings early in the morning. Being protective of his daughter, Papa Lu naturally did not give him a friendly look. Elder Lin, are you misunderstanding something? Our Lu family is a big family, and we won't let her marry just anyone. Who can say for sure about the officials these days? Who knows, if she falls from her position, we would have to be separated by a wall in the future. I naturally know how to discipline my daughter. Of course, since Boss Lin has come all the way here, I can't let you return empty-handed. Xiao Zhao, go and invite Miss Lin here. Because Lu Qianshan was also in the company, training to be her successor. After a while, Lu Qianshan entered the reception room and walked up to Papa Lu. Dad, are you and the grandson of the Lin family a couple? No. Lu Qianshan shook her head. Since they're not a couple, why are you so busy, Elder Lin? And Qianshan, can you set your sights higher when it comes to making friends? Old Master Lin was naturally enraged, but he was still in the Lu family's territory. Dad, I'll pay attention in the future. It's not that I want to criticize you, but your father is an all-powerful figure in the business world. Who hasn't he met? In the future, all you need to do is find someone who treats you well. What official's son? What third generation? They're all empty words. If a person's soul isn't clean, even if his body is clean, it's useless. Old Master Lin didn't get anything and returned in disappointment. He did not expect Papa Lu to be so protective. Dad, I've embarrassed you again. Looking at Lu Qianshan's expression, Papa Lu quickly said, it's not your fault. What right does an outsider have to criticize my daughter? And are you really close to that boy from the Lin family? Dad, you don't object, do you? He's a good man. But his family is difficult. Still, Papa Lu did not interfere with Lu Qianshan because he knew that she was one of his daughter's last friends. I'm still young and can still protect you. But what will you do when I'm old and useless? I won't. I'll never be old. Lu Qianshan threw herself into her father's arms. Still, Lu Qianshan's heart ached at Lin Mu An's current situation. The young master of the Lin family was chased out by his family just because of her. So she planned to visit Lin Muan later. She wondered how he was doing in the studio. Old Master Lin asked his men to find the best young lady from the aristocratic families, and asked her to be similar to Mu Chichi. In less than 2 days he got the name list. His assistant told Old Master Sheng about the most suitable candidate. Miss Gu, be it in terms of background or appearance, is the most suitable candidate for the chairman. Her father is a diplomat, her mother is in the shipbuilding industry, and her grandfather's background is even more extraordinary. Old Master Sheng looked at her photo and then at the background. Compared to others, Mu Chichi was like the difference between heaven and earth. Only a girl like her would be a good match for Xing Xiao. What do you think? However, they were, after all, a powerful family. This matter wasn't something that could be facilitated by the old master's wishful thinking. The other party's family had to be willing as well. Whatever the case may be, Miss Gu had caught Old Master Sheng's eye. She was the most ideal candidate for his granddaughter-in-law. Of course, Old Master Sheng was very secretive about it, and did not let anyone know about it. Otherwise Xing Xiao would make a big fuss. On the other hand, Mu Chichi had gotten a place to accompany her tutor on a field trip. She was attending a speech at the university. Mu Chichi did not know who the speaker was, but found his face rather familiar, as if she had seen him somewhere before. Mu Chichi scratched her head and asked her classmate, "Who is he?" She smiled and rolled her eyes. "Why are you here if you don't know who he is?" "I'm here to wait for my tutor," Mu Chichi explained. "All right." His surname is Su, and his family is mainly involved in the research of medical equipment. They have made great contributions to the medical field. Are you interested in him, Chichi? Isn't the crown prince going crazy? No, I just have a feeling that I've seen him somewhere, Mu Chichi explained. He's very good. He's in his early 40s and has won many international awards. Mu Chichi was not interested in those things. Of course, she could not connect that man with anyone's face at the moment. Moreover, the world was so vast that it was not unusual for there to be similarities, and it was not worth her special attention. My tutor is coming out. I'm leaving. Mu Chichi rose from her seat and followed her tutor. Still, she paid special attention to the man's identity, Sui Hong. You're lucky today. Today's field trip is a major murder case, but you must be mentally prepared. The scene will stink, and most importantly, I won't walk around or touch anything because I have to protect the scene. Mu Chichi finished her tutor's words. Little one, you can't move when you see a corpse? You don't even know how to go home. I'll be right back. I'm at the entrance of the Criminal Investigation Unit. Come out, Xing Xiao said and hung up. Meanwhile, Mu Chichi carefully sniffed herself to see if there was any strange smell. When she saw Xing Xiao outside, she ran to him with a smile. However, Xing Xiao's nose was very sensitive. Now you're a real stinky thing. I can't smell it, go back and take a bath. Xing Xiao ordered and brought Mu Chichi back to Jingting. Before Mu Chichi could say anything, he dragged her upstairs and threw her into the bathtub. Can you take it? If not, I'm the only student who didn't puke today. Xiao Xiao, I don't know why. I was only thinking about deciphering the secrets left behind by the deceased and finding the murderer. That's why I didn't notice the stench at all. That's right. Xing Xiao pinched Mu Chichi's nose as he washed her hair. I've really underestimated you. My Xing Xiao's woman is so different. You're going to stink in the future. Well, I'll have to force myself to wash you a few more times. In the real world, there were many people who would stay away from forensics. Even ordinary people would do that, let alone Xing Xiao, the crown prince of Huangyao. Even so, he had never disrespected anyone's profession. It was also one of the reasons Mu Chichi loved him wholeheartedly. Because it was a personal charm that not everyone could achieve. Oh, Grandpa won't want to see me when he finds out. What does it have to do with Grandpa if you live with me for the rest of your life? Really? Not a shadow? Many people would say that they would think of dismembered corpses when they see a forensics doctor. Silly thing, you've grown up. You've become more mature. Mu Chichi used to avoid the Mu family at all costs, and now the little one was not even afraid of corpses. Wasn't her improvement 1,000 miles in a day? Grandpa Xing didn't have the energy to discuss Mu Chichi's profession at the moment, because he was trying to reach an agreement with the Gu family. After all, Xing Xiao had a fiancée now, and it wouldn't be easy to mistreat the Gu family. If the Gu family agreed, he would find an excuse to bring Miss Gu into the Xing family, claiming that she was the granddaughter of an old friend. Then she would familiarize herself with the Xing family, Huangyao and Xing Xiao. When the time was right, he would have Xing Xiao dump Mu Qiqi and officially marry Miss Gu. Still, whether it would work or not depended on whether the young lady of the Gu family was really interested in Xing Xiao. If this matter went smoothly, he would invite her to his home during his birthday banquet in March. Of course, he wouldn't reveal Miss Gu's identity then, but he would let Mu Qiqi know how powerful her opponent was. 8 o'clock at Lin Mu An's studio. Now that the Lin family had announced that they had cut ties with Lin Mu An, many people who were interested in his background took the chance to kick him when he was down. Moreover, when Lin Mu An told his agent that he would change his pen name and bury the name Lin Mu An, his agent thought that he was crazy. You know how the market is now, but you're telling me that you're not going to use the name Lin Mu An anymore. Then, everything you've accumulated will go to waste. Not only that, you'll have to start all over again. Do you know how difficult it is to start all over again? I'm not afraid of difficulties. Lin Mu An, wake up. Is it worth it for a woman? As a matter of fact, Lu Qianqian was outside his studio. She heard their conversation and she felt terrible. Do you think that I can't achieve anything without the Lin family? Isn't that so? I didn't rely on the Lin family, but I still became famous. Lin Mu An retorted. I have the ability, but I won't force you if you don't believe me. Chapter 334. Why do you all think I'm doing this for Qianqian? Lin Mu An asked in return. Not for anyone but myself. Do you want me to follow Grandpa's arrangements and marry a woman I don't know and live like this for the rest of my life? What's wrong with Grandpa arranging things for you? A young master like you has never suffered and only knows how to be willful and reckless every day. How do you know I've never suffered? Lin Mu An retorted. Realizing that he might have said the wrong thing, the manager quickly turned his face away. I only know now that in your heart, I'm just a useless young master who only knows how to rely on my family. Young Master Lin, you're not. I understand. I don't want to be a burden to you either. You should go and find a positive boss who knows how to grasp opportunities. The two quarreled and the manager could only sigh and leave Lin Mu An's studio. But the moment he opened the door, he saw Lu Qianqian behind it. Lin Mu An's manager was stunned, but he still left without looking back. Lu Qianqian quickly went in and put the cake on the table. Then she asked Lin Mu An, didn't you say that your grandfather would only be angry for a few days? Little Pepper. Lin Mu An shrugged. I'm not as weak as you think. I can live on my own even if I leave the Lin family. Actually, your manager is right. How many people want a chance like yours? You think so too? Lu Qianqian smiled and gave him the cake. I believe you can be independent, but I don't believe you can escape from your grandfather. Have you ever been poor? I didn't eat for 2 days and hid under a bridge for 3. Does that count? Actually, I have the courage to leave the Lin family completely. Lin Mu An smiled at Lu Qianqian. Do you know what I did behind my grandfather's back before I started writing my book? I enrolled in the police academy to escape from my grandfather's control. The military and the police are two different systems, and I don't want to be under my grandfather's control. But he threatened me with illness, so I quit school. And then I started writing my book. Lu Qianqian felt as if she had met a new Lin Mu An at that. This kind of feeling was actually quite good, because she knew that Lin Mu An wasn't the kind of secular young master who was willing to accept being suppressed by his family. He could endure hardship. Then what are your plans now? I want to apply to resume my studies. Maybe you don't believe me, but before you appeared, I did think about staying in my grandfather's palm for the rest of my life. But when he treated you like that, I thought to myself, why would I sacrifice my youth to protect someone I don't think is worth it? Although I was born in the Lin family, I have my own ideals. I am also an independent person. I don't want to make those socialites happy every day, I just want my good friend to be happy. After Lu Qianqian heard this, she held Lin Mu An's hand. Since you want to do this, then let's do it. We're all adults. Make your choice and bear the consequences. As long as you don't regret your choice, I don't think there's anything to hesitate about. You won't lose me as a friend. Little Pepper, maybe you're the only one who supports me like this. You're wrong. There's also Qiqi. She's my best friend. If I support you, she will support you too. Moreover, think about it. She's the fiancée of the Xing family's crown prince. But she didn't change her course to study finance or management. She's still studying forensics. You're both people who hold on to your dreams. At Lu Qianqian's words, Lin Mu An ate the pastries she bought. Let's do that. But I'm going back to school. You have to visit me often, got it? Who asked you to suffer in there? I'll give you more drumsticks when I go back. With that, both of them laughed. What poor people did every day was to change their fate through hard work. It was the same for the rich. So what if they were rich? They had no choice in their lives. With that decision, Lin moved and went to school early the next morning and asked his tutor to resume his studies. Lin moved and was actually a good seedling. It was just that his grandfather kept interfering with his dangerous work. That was why the school was helpless at the time. Now that Lin moved and returned on his own, the tutor could not be happier. Still, he was worried that his grandfather would stop him again. What if your grandfather gets sick and threatens you again? That's because I'm unfilial. He was too young to be frightened then. But this time it was different. Tell me, what made you change like this? What made you so determined? Well, you have a girlfriend? Lin moved and smiled, looking silly. We're just friends. But he wanted to protect Lu Qianqian. He had met a scumbag before and was now discriminated against by others. He wanted a strong body and strong will. Wouldn't that make him better able to protect his friends and lovers? He just did not know how old Lin would feel when he learned that he had resumed his studies. Meanwhile, Lu Qianqian worked even harder because of Lin Mu An's encouragement. Because she could feel Lin Mu An's passionate friendship, it was more precious than anything to her. What Lin Mu An wanted to change was what she wanted to change too. There were too many doubts and speculations about young people in this world. But could they not be forgiven after making a mistake? Lu Qianqian did not believe it. On the other hand, old Xing had contacted the Gu family. But they had not officially met yet. Perhaps because of his guilty conscience, Grandpa Xing had not been bothering Mu Qiqi even verbally. Mama Xing almost thought that he had changed. After Sixth brother had messed up Huang Yao, he knew where he stood. Even if he still hated Mu Qiqi, his most important goal now was to find his sister. Sheng Minghui was nowhere to be found, and old Xing regretted it very much. There were only 2 daughters in the Xing family. Now that 4th sister was driven away and 7th sister was chased out, old Xing felt that it was not perfect to have one less daughter in the Xing family. He thought to himself that he should find some time to visit Minglan and bring her back. At most, he would not interfere with her company. But he did not know that Xing Minglan and Jing Yun were living together now. He would probably go crazy if he saw them. Late at night, Mu Qiqi was sitting on the sofa at home, thinking about who that Su person looked like. Chapter 335. What is it, Miss Mu Qiqi? Miss Qiqi, Jing Yun asked. There's a man with the surname Su who has been giving a speech in Xingting these few days. He looks very similar to you. I noticed him the first time I saw him, especially his eyes. Mu Qiqi took out her phone and showed him a photo. After listening, Jing Yun took the phone and looked at it and was a little surprised. Don't they look alike? Won't we know if we check? Xing Xiao was not obsessed with photos. He would know everything after a DNA test. But how do we get his DNA? Are we going to ask for it directly? Let's check his background first. Xing Xiao did not want to disturb Jing Yun's mind right now. The world is so big. There are always people who look alike. You're right, Xiao Xiao. This was the first time Jing Yun felt something strange in his heart. He had never hoped that his family would still be alive. Whether he could find them or not, he was already very satisfied with his current life. In fact, it was good to maintain the status quo. From the looks of it, he doesn't actually want to cause trouble and distance himself from 4th sister. Xing Zhao's words exposed Jing Yun's inner thoughts. I think you should figure out where you come from. It's your choice whether you want to recognize your family. Mu Qiqi believed that no one would want to live their entire life muddle-headed. Even Jing Yun would want to know who his parents were and why they left him alone in the first place. Jing Yun looked at the photo. He had a plan in his mind. Do you remember why I insisted that Chia return to the Shin family? Although it would not help Grandpa Shin to acknowledge Mu Qiqi's identity, he could not stop them from getting engaged because Mu Qiqi was a member of the Shin family. Jing Yun understood what Xing Xiao meant. Having a family and not was like heaven and hell. I'll handle it. Xing Xiao did not say anything else. He hugged Mu Qiqi and said to Jing Yun, then why aren't you leaving? Is there no one waiting for you at home? Xiao Xiao. Mu Qiqi couldn't help but hit Xing Zhao's chest. How could he chase away a guest like that? Jing Yun received the order and left Jing Ting. On his way home he thought about many things. When he reached home, Xing Minglan had already prepared dinner. Jing Yun saw her busy figure and quickly hugged her from behind. What's going on today? Did 8th brother bully you? Didn't I tell you? You're his brother-in-law now. No, I'm just too hungry. Then hurry up and eat. Sheng Minglan picked up the utensils and was about to leave when Jing Yun took them from her and put them down, before lifting her up and placing her on the counter. Jing Yun? Sheng Minglan was startled. I'm sorry. I'm too hungry. Jing Yun apologized softly before kissing her lips. His hunger wasn't his stomach's. Sheng Minglan was stunned. How difficult was it for a blockhead like Jing Yun to play tricks? Soon they forgot that there was food on the table outside, and the kitchen became their new pleasure ground. As it turned out, Jing Yun was not as calm as he usually was when he did such things. But in the middle of the night, Jing Yun suddenly woke up from a nightmare. He let go of the woman in his arms and looked at the time. It was only 3 in the morning, but for some reason, he had not had such a dream for a long time. In the dream he was abandoned by a tall man in a world of ice and snow. He could not see the man's back clearly, but he remembered what he said. This place is very far from home. You will never find your way home. Jing Yun suddenly couldn't tell if it was a dream or reality. He looked down at Sheng Minglan beside him. She was fast asleep. Jing Yun did not wake her up and instead quietly got up. His birth was like Pandora's box. Once opened, it might not necessarily be a scene of separated relatives hugging and crying. 2 days later at the Lin residence. At first, Grandpa Lin wanted to cut off his grandson's source of income and teach the rascal a lesson. But until now he hadn't even heard from Lin Muan. Was this child really angry? Was he hiding? Grandpa Lin spent some effort to find Lin Muan, but Lin Muan's former manager told him, "Your grandson no longer wants to listen to your arrangements. He insists on being independent, so I hope you won't come looking for him in the future. Look, the company is planning to take all his promotions and works off the shelves." Grandpa Lin immediately felt that something was wrong. He even sent someone to follow Lu Qianqian, but found that Lin Muan was not with her. He asked around many times and finally found out where Lin Muan was. He actually went to the police academy to apply to resume his studies behind the Lin family's back. When Grandpa Lin learned about it, he clutched his chest and stumbled a few steps back. That bastard. Doesn't he know that I'm against him going to the police academy? He's only willing to go against me. Grandpa Lin rushed to the academy and asked to see Lin Muan. But Lin Muan was already wearing his uniform and looked like a proper officer. He knew that Grandpa Lin would come, which was within his expectations. Come home with me. As long as you come home with me, I won't regret making friends with you. You can play with whoever you want and do whatever you want as long as you leave the police academy. Lin Muan was unmoved and rejected the old man's request. No, Grandpa. I'm not going back to the police academy to fight you. Just because I like being a police officer. That's a hail of bullets. Grandpa Lin said hurriedly. That's my choice too. In the end, you're still taking revenge on me. Grandpa Lin was upset. No, I won't allow you to continue studying in the police academy. You're a descendant of the Lin family. You don't have to risk your life. Grandpa, I must go to the police academy. You can't stop me this time, Lin Muan said firmly. I'll go to the principal and your director. If you think this will work, then go. Lin Muan was unmoved. Even if Grandpa Lin used all his power, he would never drop out of the academy because he didn't break any rules. It was obvious that Grandpa Lin was at a loss. Why did his obedient grandson suddenly become so disobedient? Grandpa Lin was so angry that he fainted in the study after returning home. This time the Lin family called Lin Muan again. But Lin Muan said to them, "Take good care of Grandpa. Pretend that you never gave birth to an unfilial descendant like me." He really didn't compromise because he wanted to become a useful person. Chapter 336. As expected, Lu Qianqian kept her word. No matter how busy she was, she would make time to visit Lin Muan at the police academy with a drumstick. Because the police academy was different from ordinary universities, the winter and summer holidays were very short, and the students also had to train on the weekends. Sometimes they could go out for a short while in the afternoon, but they were definitely not allowed to stay overnight. So this was a small chance for Lin Muan to see Lu Qianqian. Lu Qianqian suddenly laughed when she saw Lin Muan in his police uniform. No, what's wrong? Lin Muan looked at himself curiously. I'm just not used to seeing you so serious all of a sudden. Lu Qianqian covered her mouth and laughed. But to be honest, it's much cooler than you in a suit. Of course. Lin Muan still had that little bit of pride. It's a pity that I came back at the wrong time. The police academy is about to start its holidays. I brought you a drumstick. The training must have been tough. It was more than just bitter. Lin Mu and pulled up his sleeves, revealing the bruises on his arms. Although it's tough, I'm happy. Thank you for the drumstick. I'm going to eat. The food in the canteen isn't that good. As Lu Qianqian watched Lin Mu and eat the drumstick, she took out a small box and handed it to him. What is this? Protective talisman. Lu Qianqian explained. It said that being a police officer is a life of bullets. So I wish you a long life. Lin Mu and smiled and accepted the small box. Female CO, you have to study hard too. Don't fall behind me. I'm smart and quick-witted, how can I lose to you? You are a scumbag. Both of them bickered as usual, but for Lin Mu and Lu Qianqian's visit made the physical pain he suffered in the police academy vanish without a trace. When he returned to the police academy, he lay on his bed and opened the gift Lu Qianqian had given him. Seeing that it was really a safety charm, he carefully hung it around his neck. I will definitely grow up to be a friend that can protect you. On the other hand, Lu Qianqian could study harder because of Lin Mu An's encouragement. Everyone was improving and she couldn't always lick her own wounds. Over the last few days, Mu Qiqi had gone out to field several times with her instructor, and returned home every day with different scents. Because it went deep into the hair, there was no way to prevent the smell. No matter how you washed, there would still be some residual smell. Old Sheng had called to inform the entire Sheng family to come home for dinner. In fact, he wanted to discuss a way to bring Sheng Minglan home. However, it was inconvenient for Mu Qiqi to attend because the smell on her was unbearable. Xiao Xiao, the old man can't wait for me not to go to the Sheng family's dinner anyway. Let's just forget about it this time, lest he uses the smell on me to make a fuss again. Xing Xiao hugged Mu Qiqi and hooked her chin. There's no smell. Why not? You're helping me because you're a fan. But the Sheng family won't be polite to me. Xing Xiao did not say anything. He just let go of Mu Qiqi and went to the study to make a call. Since Qi was not going, there was no need for him to go back. Moreover, he even informed Jing Yun, find the best perfumer in France. I want to meet him in a few days. He did not want the little one to hate him because of those things. Meanwhile, the Sheng family was already seated around the dining table, although Xing Xiao and Mu Qiqi's seats were empty. The old man glanced at them and asked Mama Sheng, what's going on? Eighth brother just called. He's going on a business trip, so he won't be coming tonight. Does he think nothing of me now that he's the CEO of Huangyao? Even if he's not coming, where's Mu Qiqi? Wasn't the old man asking a question he already knew the answer to? Wasn't it obvious that Mu Qiqi was coming to be humiliated when eighth brother was not coming? Father, just tell me what you want. Mama Sheng quickly changed the topic. Seventh sister has been missing for some time and we couldn't find her. That's why fourth sister is the only girl left in our generation, but she's still out there and wouldn't come home. It was because seventh sister was here before. Now that she's gone, you should think of a way to bring her back. No daughter of the Sheng family would want to live in the cage that was the Sheng family. Fourth sister had already tasted freedom outside. Why would she come back? Father, you had promised fourth sister that you wouldn't interfere with her life. It's not good for you to go back on your word. He remembered how he had been fickle in front of Xing Xiao before, and how he had lost his position as CEO of Huangyao and 10% of the company's shares. If he were to provoke fourth brother now, he would probably lose even more. She's a daughter of the Sheng family in the end. I won't interfere with her marriage as long as she comes home. The old man's words were pleasant, but could he not object when he found out that Jing Yun and Xing Minglan were together? Naturally, no one in the Sheng family knew about it. Xiao Qin, I'll leave this to you. I want our family to be together. Mama Sheng was helpless but nodded in the end. I'll do my best. Of course, it would be better for Mama Sheng to know than the old man, right? Mama Sheng went to Xing Minglan's company early next morning so that she wouldn't waste her time and could see her before she went to work. But when she saw Xing Minglan's car parked in the garage and was about to get out, she saw Jing Yun getting out of the driver's seat first, before going around the car to drive for Xing Minglan. They were holding hands and their posture was very intimate. Mama Sheng did a double take, suspecting that her eyes were playing tricks on her. That was why she quickly got out of the car and followed Jing Yun, only to find that they were kissing at the entrance of the company. Mama Sheng promptly covered her mouth and quickly returned to her car. What was going on? Why was Jing Yun with fourth sister? With that question in mind, Mama Sheng called Xing Xiao. However, Xing Xiao was in the bathroom and Mu Qiqi was the one who answered. What's the matter, mother? Xiao Xiao is washing up. Qiqi, tell me, do you know fourth sister's secret? Mama Sheng asked straightforwardly. Mu Qiqi did a double take, her whole body stiffening. Mother, indeed you know about it too. This morning, I saw the two of them being very intimate in front of fourth sister's office. These two kids are way too brave. Don't they know what the consequences will be if the old man finds out? Mother, don't tell Grandpa, alright? Fourth sister is finally a little happy, but I would keep it a secret for the rest of my life if I could. But this is about marriage and children. Wouldn't your grandfather know? Mama Sheng was really anxious. I saw the two of them come to the company together this morning. How far have they progressed? Stop. Mama Sheng understood what Mu Chichi meant. Chapter 337. Why aren't you doing anything? Mama Sheng was beside herself. Even the rest of the Sheng family wouldn't accept Jing Yun as the Sheng family's son-in-law, let alone the old man. Just because Jing Yun has nothing? Xing Xiao, that won't work. You and Mu Chichi could get engaged because she's the Shen family's granddaughter, but Jing Yun? Mom, do you not like Jing Yun too? Xing Xiao asked in return. Of course I like that child since he's been by your side for so many years. But your grandfather? You don't have to worry about anything if you like him. Xing Xiao promptly cut her short. Fourth sister had opened Jing Yun's heart after much difficulty, or that blockhead would have ended up with fourth sister long ago. Mama Sheng could only sigh at that. How much more do you children have to make me worry before it's enough? That was precisely why Mu Chichi and Xing Xiao believed that their mother would not tell the old man about it. How worrisome. If that's the case, tell Jing Yun to restrain himself and fourth sister. The old man might visit her company from time to time. If Jing Yun knew that Mama Sheng had found out about their relationship, his heart that had just been opened would instantly close again. Mu Chichi couldn't help sighing when Xing Xiao put down his phone. It's lucky that Mom found out first. The consequences would be unthinkable if it was Grandpa. Call fourth sister later and tell her about it in a roundabout way, so that she'll be careful of Jing Yun's emotions. Mu Chichi nodded. Got it, Xiao Xiao. Still, this matter has to be resolved. Check his identity first. He had prepared for the worst since he did not expect that Jing Yun might be related to the Su family. Still, since this matter could minimize the damage, he certainly had to do both at the same time. Of course, he would only consider that if Jing Yun was really a member of the Su family and they really had the intention of finding their child. In the afternoon, Jing Yun received the background information on the Su family and handed it to Xing Xiao. Xing Xiao glanced at it and smiled in return. You haven't opened it yourself? No. Jing Yun calmly shook his head. Xing Xiao opened the envelope and took out the results of the investigation, and found that the Su family was not a bunch of mediocre people. The person in charge of the Su family was one of the top medical equipment suppliers in the country. He had been engaged in the development of medical equipment for many years and had made many contributions to the medical field. The Su couple had 2 sons and 1 daughter. Su Yihong was the eldest, Su Wei the second, and the youngest, Su Yifeng, who had been missing for many years. Xing Xiao flipped through the documents and looked at the photo of third brother left on the Su family tree. That was clearly how Jing Yun looked when he was young. Was there even a need to check? The Su family had only recently moved to Jianchuan to develop. Before this, they had been far away in the coastal cities. If the Su family had always been thousands of miles away, why would Jing Yun end up in Jianchuan? When he was done, he put all the documents on the table and asked, "What do you think? I can tell you with certainty that you are a member of the Su family." I don't know. Jing Yun paused for a moment, feeling very lost. I believe that the Su couple must be looking for you. After all, they had searched the city they used to live in for years, but to no avail. I was abandoned. Jing Yun told Xing Xiao about his dream. Recently, I've been having this dream a lot. In the dream, I'm being brought thousands of miles away by a man and then abandoned. It's because that's the only way I can't go home. That's not hard to explain. Why the Su family couldn't find their own child despite having such a large family business. Perhaps someone deliberately gave them the wrong direction. If that's the case, we must first find out who that person is. With that, Xing Xiao turned his office chair and studied Jing Yun from head to toe. I really didn't expect you to have such a background. Young master, of course, acknowledging the Su family is another matter. We must first find the one who abandoned you and torture him. It was Jing Yun's choice to return to the Su family, and no one could interfere. Even so, it was time for the person who had tortured Jing Yun for years to pay the price. Xing Xiao did not tell Mama Sheng about the Su family, because they didn't know what had happened to them. That was why Mama Sheng was worried. When she returned to the Sheng family at night, she was inevitably questioned by the old man. What happened when you went to see fourth sister today? I didn't get to see her today, but I've told her secretary that I wanted to meet her. Mama Sheng could still imagine the two young people's intimacy. Hurry. I know. Mama Sheng replied. Fourth sister never cared about the Sheng family in the past, let alone now that she was living with Jing Yun. There was really no telling what clever move Xing Xiao could come up with. Xing Xiao wanted to investigate Jing Yun's abandonment all those years ago, but he didn't know how many other people were involved. Doing his best not to alarm the Su family, Xing Xiao learned the reason behind the disappearance of the third son of the Su family. That year, Su Holdings had just experienced internal strife, with Papa Su and Jing Yun's eldest uncle fighting for control of Su Holdings. At the time, the eldest uncle of the Su family even made a move on the children of the Su family to threaten Papa Su. To protect the children, Papa Su had his wife take the 3 children into hiding. Su Yihong had fled to the Su family's mansion on the island, leaving the 3 to return to the mansion the next day. But when Mama Su took a plane the next day, she found that her son who had been following her was gone. And the Su couple had searched for him for 10 years. Even so, there was no news of their youngest son. Come to think of it, the one who lost Jing Yun was his mother. Mu Qiqi leaned on Xing Xiao and finished reading the information. But that clearly doesn't make sense. Jing Yun said that someone had deliberately left him 1,000 miles away. Think about it. There are only a few possibilities at the time. First, the eldest uncle of the Su family abducted Papa Su's son so that he would lose his beloved son. Second, it has nothing to do with the eldest uncle of the Su family. But who could it be? Who would benefit from losing Jing Yun? Xing Xiao hugged her at Mu Qiqi's analysis and smiled meaningfully. Whose cheese did Jing Yun touch? Wouldn't the truth be revealed when he returns? Chapter 338. He's afraid that the Su family is just like the Xing family, scheming against each other, and afraid that he can't protect fourth sister. It's only natural that Jing Yun would be afraid. If Mu Qiqi didn't love Xing Xiao so much that she couldn't live without him, why would she go to such a dangerous place like the Xing family? Still, I have the feeling that giving in won't reap good results. If Jing Yun was really killed by someone, I would definitely find the culprit if I were him. Xing Xiao looked down at Xiao Qi'er and couldn't help chuckling. It's good that you know how to take revenge. Mu Qiqi couldn't help pushing him away when she saw him approaching. Don't get so close to me. I stink. Xing Xiao did not move away from her. Instead, he hugged her tightly in his arms. I don't despise you and you despise me? The French perfumer will come tomorrow, and I'll have her make a perfume specifically for your skin. Will it really work? Mu Qiqi asked. It definitely will. Mu Qiqi couldn't help reaching out to unbutton Xing Xiao's shirt at his words. You're the person who treats me the best in this world. So, mister, do you want to marry me? Mu Qiqi asked flirtatiously. Xing Xiao said nothing else and simply grabbed Mu Qiqi's hand, flipping her over and pressing her beneath him. Since she was offering herself to him, he wouldn't hold back. Late at night in Xing Minglan's apartment. Jing Yun knew everything about himself, but he didn't tell Xing Minglan a single word. It wasn't because he hadn't thought of how to handle it yet. He must find the culprit, but he wouldn't know who it was without contact with the Su family. Jing Yun, you've been distracted all night. What's wrong? Jing Yun shook his head and continued watching TV with Xing Minglan in his arms. What would you do if I'm not me? What do you mean? Jing Yun didn't answer. Instead, he lifted Xing Minglan's chin and kissed her. It was a long time before he released her. Xing Minglan's face was flushed now. We don't seem to have any restraint these days. I won't disturb you if you want to rest tonight. Jing Yun said. That's not what I mean. Minglan, are you really willing to be with me for the rest of your life regardless of who I am? Even if I have nothing? Xing Minglan was sure that Jing Yun was behaving strangely. She turned to look at him. Aren't I doing that now? I love you as a person and the feelings you've shown me for so many years. They're not worldly possessions. I want to marry you. Having said that, Jing Yun picked Xing Minglan up from the sofa. How could a man not be affectionate when he had his lover in his arms? Blushing, Xing Minglan could only hug his neck tightly and enjoy his most tender kisses and caresses. It was also on this night that Jing Yun made a very important decision. On the other hand, Mama Sheng had not made any progress with Xing Minglan, which annoyed the old man. He wanted Xing Minglan to come home, but he did not know how to appear before his granddaughter. All along he had asked someone to look for Xing Minglan's address, though he did not know how he could appear in front of his granddaughter. That was why he went to Xing Minglan's new company after running out of ideas. Of course he did not go there himself. So, having exhausted all his options, he went to Xing Minglan's new company to see if there was any news about Seventh Sister. But when he arrived at Xing Minglan's new company and revealed his identity, he was stopped by the secretary. "I'm sorry, Chief Xing is not in the office right now." In fact, Xing Minglan was having lunch with Jing Yun near the office. Even during lunch break, Jing Yun did not let go of the chance to meet Xing Minglan. Helpless when he did not see her, sixth brother turned to leave Xing Minglan's office. But just as he stepped out of the door, he saw Jing Yun and Xing Minglan entering the office one after another, and when no one was paying attention, Xing Minglan tiptoed and kissed Jing Yun's cheek. Sixth brother was left dumbfounded. Not knowing what was going on, he quickly hid in a corner. It was only after Jing Yun left that he returned to Xing Minglan's office. Xing Minglan had already learned about sixth brother's visit from her secretary. But when she turned around and saw this person, her heart skipped a beat. Could he have seen everything just now? "What are you doing here instead of working at Huang Yao?" "Fourth sister, I want to know if you've seen Seventh Sister. Or did she contact you on her own?" "No." Xing Minglan shook her head. "You should know how much Seventh Sister hates me. Why would she come looking for me?" "If that's the case, you should go back to your work, fourth sister." Xing Minglan had wanted to ask sixth brother if he had seen anything he shouldn't have. But since sixth brother did not mention it, she would be exposing herself if she poked at him. In fact, sixth brother was not harboring any ill intentions. He simply believed that Jing Yun was not good enough for his fourth sister. That was why he went straight to Huang Yao after he left Xing Minglan's office, dragged Jing Yun to the balcony and interrogated him. "What is your relationship with fourth sister?" Jing Yun stared at sixth brother in shock, but soon regained his composure. "Tell me, you toad. Are you still hoping to eat a swan?" "Let me tell you, I won't tell Grandpa about this for the time being, but you have to leave my fourth sister immediately. You have to know that being with her is harming her. If Grandpa finds out, he'll definitely beat her to death." I hope that sixth young master would keep his word and not tell the chairman about this. "I won't say anything if you leave fourth sister. Otherwise I'll have to let Grandpa handle this. I'll handle my own business. You know very well who you are, Jing Yun. You've been with eighth brother for so many years, but you're still an outsider and an orphan at that. You're just a servant and a dog of the Sheng family." Jing Yun's gaze sharpened at the last word. Still, sixth brother did not think that he was wrong. "Either way, you have to leave fourth sister now. I'll give you 1 day or I'll tell Grandpa tomorrow." Jing Yun said nothing as he watched sixth brother leave. Still, he should be more careful and not have too much intimate contact with Xing Minglan when they were outside. Now that sixth brother knew, and saw it by accident, there would be a huge uproar if he told the chairman, and the entire Xing family would be in a mess. Chapter 339. Jing Yun kept his cool and told Xing Xiao about it. Xing Xiao glared at him when he heard it. "Don't you know how to restrain yourselves? My mom saw it too." Jing Yun's entire body stiffened at that. How could a first-time lover know how intimate they appeared in front of outsiders? After all, both he and Xing Minglan only had eyes for each other at the time. "It's easy with my mom since she's on our side. But as for sixth brother, you know that he has a grudge against us because of what happened to seventh brother. Still, it's not difficult to pacify him for now. Still, you have to make plans for that." "I'm going to meet the Su family," Jing Yun answered. Because he wanted to uncover the truth, he did not want to be left in the dark. More importantly, he wanted to return to his rightful place. At least he was not a dog of the Sheng family in sixth brother's eyes. Xing Xiao was naturally unaware that sixth brother had said that to Jing Yun. He would not be sitting still if he did. Whatever the case may be, sixth brother was a ticking time bomb. "Make the necessary arrangements since you're going to meet the Su family. Are you going to meet Su Yihong directly, or the Su couple?" Jing Yun stared at Xing Xiao but did not answer, because he was more inclined to meet the Su couple directly. Meanwhile, sixth brother paced around his room in irritation after he returned to the Xing family's residence. After all, he was now carrying a shocking secret. He really wanted to tell the old man and have him punish Jing Yun. How dare a toad lusting after a swan's flesh? He wanted the old man to beat Jing Yun up so that he would know his place. Still, if he brought the matter to light, the old man would definitely punish Xing Minglan as well. Although he was aware that seventh brother and fourth sister had a grudge, Mu Chichi was the main culprit in the matter, which was why he did not blame fourth sister. Meanwhile, Mama Sheng's task was to keep an eye on sixth brother. She had received Xing Zhao's call, and her worries were starting to come true. It was just that no one could connect the two of them now. Come to think of it, there were only a few places Xing Xiao and Mu Qiqi could go on a date, because Xing Xiao knew very well how vast Huang Yao's sphere of influence was. Now he could only stall for as long as he could. That night, Jing Yun went home to pack his things, pretending that he was going on a business trip. Xing Minglan could not help being puzzled at that. I didn't hear eighth brother was going anywhere. Are you going alone? Jing Yun stopped what he was doing and straightened to Xing Minglan. I'm going to find my identity. Xing Minglan was puzzled. Be more specific. Actually, I've already found my parents and found out my true identity. However, I haven't met them yet. There are a lot of mysteries in my heart that I want to solve. So, I plan to make a trip there. Xing Minglan suddenly understood why Jing Yun had been acting strangely lately. Why did you only tell me now? Xing, to Xing said, Yun said, I say. I'll go with you. That way I'll be the first to know if anything happens to you. Otherwise I'll just be on tenterhooks. But sixth young master saw us today, and I'm afraid he wouldn't be able to stop himself from telling the chairman. That's why I'm entrusting you to him. You can stay in Jingting for a while so I won't have to worry. Jingyun, I said I'll go with you. Xing Minglan was insistent. I want to know why your family would abandon you. Jing Yun was helpless but compromised. By the time we get back to Jianchuan the news would have spread. It would come sooner or later, wouldn't it? Xing Minglan was not afraid at all. In fact, she was a little delighted. After all, she had long wanted to tell the world about Jing Yun's identity. She loved him and wanted to be with him, and no one could separate them. Sleep for a while. I'll pack. Since Su Holdings had not fully moved here, the Su couple often stayed in other cities. Xing Minglan nodded and held Jing Yun's hand tightly. No matter what happens, I will face it with you. I'm weak, but I'm not afraid of anything as long as I'm with you. Jing Yun called Xing Xiao and asked him to keep sixth brother in check for now, or at least not let it happen when he was not in Jianchuan. Deep down he was retreating. He did not want to bring Xing Minglan any pain. But now, this woman was holding his hand so firmly and staying by his side. If he retreated, he would not be a man anymore. After all, the two of them were already husband and wife. Regardless of what the future held, he would first work hard to resist the mountain that was old Sheng. He would sacrifice everything for Xing Minglan, even his own life. Holding hands, the two of them sat in the airport lobby. This time he was really going to find the answers to his parentage. Jing Yun is getting braver. Mu Qiqi was relieved when she learned that they were leaving together. Although there's no telling when sixth brother, that ticking time bomb, would explode. Do you think Jing Yun is still afraid? He was not afraid. He would stand in front of Xing Minglan even if thousands of arrows pierced his heart. I hope Jing Yun's trip ends well. Even then, Mu Qiqi was not aware of what old Xing was up to in secret. She was worried about Jing Yun and Xing Minglan, but did not know that her own situation was the one that worried her the most. After all, old Xing had gotten in touch with the Gu family as he wished, and had a preliminary conversation with them. As for whether his plan could come to fruition in March, it all depended on whether Miss Gu was willing to cooperate. On the other hand, sixth brother could not sit still for the entire day. Mama Sheng had seen him walking past the old man's study many times, and it was easy to imagine how much the brat wanted to tell the old man about it. His sister was already guilty of the most heinous crime. Was he going to be the same as her? Sixth brother believed that he was keeping his word. After all, he had given Jing Yun one day to break up with Xing Minglan, and he could not break his promise before the day was up. Unexpectedly, when he called Jing Yun the next morning, he found that his phone was not in the service area, just like Xing Minglan. Could they have eloped because they knew that disaster was coming? Chapter 340. Sixth brother immediately wanted to go to the old man, but ran into Xing Xiao on his way to the old man's study. Xing Xiao was wearing a black handmade suit, his figure appearing tall and slender as he stood in the corridor of the Xing residence. Sixth brother, where are you going? Sixth brother glared at Xing Xiao and pointed at his nose, scolding him. You found yourself a good-for-nothing Mu Qiqi. Why would you ruin fourth sister's life? I don't understand. What happened to fourth sister? Stop playing dumb. By the way, the project manager in Africa has resigned. Why don't you go over and replace him? Xing Xiao smiled. I was just about to talk to the old man about this. Why don't we go together? Tell me, where did Jing Yun go? Why isn't your phone in the service area? I asked him to go on a business trip. What about it? Xing Xiao's expression was calm throughout. I told this toad to break up with fourth sister. In the end he eloped with fourth sister. I'm going to tell grandfather about this. Alright, you can go and tell old master. No one can stop you, but you have to think about what happened to seventh sister because she framed her. Sheng Xiao stared coldly at sixth brother. You can tell the old man about this and he could ask Jing Yun to leave and disappear from this world. But you should know how much fourth sister would hate you in the end. In the end, this is fourth sister's business. What does it have to do with you? Sixth brother looked at Sheng Xiao, especially at his eyes. They were long, narrow and deep, and there was no telling what he was plotting. It was unfathomable. Jing Yun is your assistant. He's just a dog of the Sheng family. At least he has done something for the Sheng family. What have you done for the Sheng family? Sheng Xiao asked sixth brother in return. Every penny you spend now is thanks to Jing Yun. What right do you have to be so shameless and call him a dog? Is that so? So does he want something of a higher class, a loyal dog? Pack your things and go to Africa immediately. Otherwise I'll freeze your account. Sheng Xiao did not want to be entangled with sixth brother. After all, they were like fire and water because of what happened to seventh sister. Who are you to decide whether I stay or leave? Because I am the president of Huang Yao. With that, Sheng Xiao turned around and left. Speaking of which, didn't you also contribute to this? Also, you call Jing Yun a dog, but in my heart, you're worse than a dog. I'll give you 2 hours to check in, or you'll have to bear the consequences. Sixth brother was reluctant. Sheng Xiao was clearly doing that to stop the old man from learning about Jing Yun and fourth sister. A loyal dog wanted to marry the young lady of the Sheng family? Most importantly, Jing Yun was Sheng Xiao's assistant, or sixth brother wouldn't bear such a grudge. Sheng Xiao did not go to Grandpa Sheng's study. Instead, he went to his mother's room. When Mama Sheng learned about it, she shook her head. This won't stop sixth brother. I don't want to stop him, Sheng Xiao replied. Let him cause trouble and anger the old man. It's just right. But what about Jing Yun and fourth sister? Did he really run out and hide? Eloped? Mom, Jing Yun went on a business trip. Fourth sister just followed him. But if the old man asks, how should I answer? Mama Sheng was very worried. Just say that Jing Yun went on a business trip with fourth sister and nothing else. We'll talk about it when they come back. Even if sixth brother goes to the old man to make a fuss, the old man would have to believe him. You just have to pretend you don't know anything. But they would have to face. Sure. Sheng Xiao gestured for her to calm down. Meanwhile, Jing Yun and Xing Minglan had successfully checked into the hotel. To smoothly meet Su matriarch, Xing Minglan used her company's name to meet the Su couple. The Su couple were surprised when they received the invitation, since Xing Minglan's department store and the medical industry had no potential for collaboration. Why would she meet the old couple? Still, the couple agreed to meet at 6 in the evening. Xing Minglan looked down at Jing Yun when she read the reply. Nervous? Jing Yun shook his head. To convince them, I brought a picture of you when we were young. Jing Yun reached out to hug Xing Minglan. Although he didn't say it, Xing Minglan could feel that he was nervous, and his body was trembling. You'll see them tonight. Meanwhile, at the Sheng residence, sixth brother was packing his things early in the morning, which caught the old man's attention. Where are you going? Africa. Sixth brother replied irritably. Can't help it. The CEO of Huang Yao has a lot of influence. What can I do when he wants me to be in charge of a project in Africa? Since eighth brother sent you, just treat it as training. The old man glared at him. Aren't you curious, grandfather? Why would eighth brother send me to Africa? Do you think I don't know about your grudge? You hate eighth brother and Muchichi because of seventh sister. Sixth brother couldn't help laughing at that. Our Sheng family is really inviting a wolf into our house. Grandpa, why don't you ask your eighth brother where his assistant went and where fourth sister went? Hearing this, Grandpa Sheng couldn't help but frown. What do you mean? What I mean is, you might have a poor grandson-in-law. You mean, that's impossible. The old man didn't believe it. It had been so many years and it would have happened long ago if Jing Yun and fourth sister really had something going on. They wouldn't have waited until now. I saw it with my own eyes. They kissed and even went on a business trip together. Aren't you worried at all, grandfather? Hearing this, the old man's body stiffened. It's best if you investigate this in private. They might have been living together a long time ago. Ask eighth brother. He can think of 1,000 ways to brush you off. The old man took a deep breath and waved at sixth brother. Hurry up and leave. Don't be an eyesore. Sixth brother snorted coldly. He wouldn't believe that eighth brother would have the ability to marry Jing Yun into the Sheng family. But did Jing Yun need to marry into the Sheng family? The old man was upset when he heard the news, and promptly sent someone to Xing Minglan's company to investigate. He found out that Xing Minglan and Jing Yun were really close, having meals together and getting off work together almost every day. What else could it be if not a couple? In fact, Xing Xiao didn't stop the old man from investigating. Otherwise, he wouldn't have found anything if Xing Minglan's company explained everything. What could he do even if he knew now? The old man became more furious the more he thought about it. Unable to contact Jing Yun and Xing Minglan, he called Xing Zhao's phone. Get your ass back here. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.